The Lone Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know, 'cause times change, I know.
On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, you say.
Come along, join the fun, in a world where adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode. start the magic. On the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow. On the Globus Show, see the sights, so much to know. Across the land, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode. On the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow. On the Globus Show.
This is my earth, and I live in it. It's 1/3 dirt and 2/3 water, and it rotates and revolves through space at rather an impressive pace, and never even messes up my hair. And here's a really weird thing: the force created by its spin is the force that stops the chaos flooding in. This is my earth, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect. This is my house, and I live in it. It's made of cracks and photographs. We bought it from a guy who bought it from a guy who bought it from a guy whose granddad left it to him. And the weirdest thing is that this house has locks to keep the baddies out, but they're mostly used to lock ourselves in. This is my house, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect, but it's mine. This is my body, and I live in it. It's 48 and 6 months old. It's changed a lot since it was new. It's done stuff it wasn't built to do. I often try to fill it up with wine. The weirdest thing about it is I've spent so much time hating it, but it never said a bad word about me. This is my body, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect. This is my brain, and I live in it. It's made of love and bad song lyrics. It's tucked away behind my eyes, where all my fucked up thoughts can hide. 'Cause God forbid I hurt somebody. And the weirdest thing about a mind is that every answer that you find is the basis of a brand new cliche. This is my brain, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect. I'm not quite sure I've worked out how to work it. It's not perfect, but it's mine.
What up, Twitch? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, Stamping? Tiny people in my chatterino. It's your boy. Let's do some content.
YouTube is making good on its promise to implement an AI age verification system, which would appear to work based on the content you watch. It seems to have occurred following the UK and Australia's policy changes on social media age checks, with Australia banning those under 16 from using social media. Of course, many are stating the obvious. This is unlikely to actually work, as teenagers have and will always find ways to skirt any restrictions. Some have tried getting around ID identification in the UK by using Death Stranding characters and changing their facial expressions to limited success. In a blog post, YouTube said, "We will use AI to interpret a variety of signals that help us to determine whether a user is over or under 18. These signals include the types of videos a user is searching for, the categories of videos they have watched, or the longevity of the account. And if the estimation of the AI is wrong, users will be able to go through an ID age verification process." That being said, it's hard enough for YouTube's AI to determine what is and isn't flagged on regular videos. Why do they have faith that it will accurately determine how old a person is? It certainly marks the milestone of a changed internet. Anonymity is harder and harder to come by, as Mark Zuckerberg initially changed the game with Facebook linking real identities to people online, and prior to that, everyone took privacy a lot more seriously and only interacted with others via anonymous handles. On the one hand, ID verification could be useful for making sure it is difficult for people to have their accounts hacked, but on the other hand, if they are hacked, then they're screwed, and it's almost a given that a way to do so will be found. And the fact that this is being determined via AI will surely bring up some frustrations. In short, the changes YouTube are implementing perhaps mark a crossroads in the concept of social media. Governments understand that teenagers and kids need to be protected from the horrors of unfiltered internet, and thus attempt to hide it away from them via verification, but the government also unfortunately seems all too keen to implement measures that may be ineffective. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next? Let me know in the comments below.
And remember, like and subscribe. Or else.
carrying on with the theme of protecting the children.
Within seconds, the drones buzz to life and weave through hallways, searching for a fake school shooter. A demonstration of the real abilities they were built for.
What up, T1?
The co-founders of Texas-based company Campus Guardian Angel hope this is the future of school safety.
Our job is if somebody comes in a school with a gun, we respond in 5 seconds.
This is how it would work. Silent alarms in the school alert the company, then drones strategically placed on campus get deployed, and these drone pilots would navigate remotely from their headquarters in Austin, working in tandem with the school and police, inflicting non-lethal damage to the suspect, or dummy in this demo, with pepper rounds and direct impact.
All these markings, that's from the drone?
Yeah, so the little holes are from drones, and then these different marks here, these are from the pepper rounds bouncing off the guy's chest.
All of it an effort to buy time.
We want to make sure that person is as degraded as we can in a non-lethal manner so that they're unable to continue murdering children.
The program is not active in any schools yet, but the company says it expects to start training programs in 4 Texas schools this year. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just approved state funding to bring it to 3 of their school districts.
Do you want these drones in your school?
Absolutely.
John Lux, father and principal of this charter school in Miami, hopes to have the peace of mind.
As a father, you ask me, what am I willing to give up in my child's school for protection? Everything.
The fear is in the data. Since the Columbine High School shooting in 1999, nearly 400,000 students across the U.S. have experienced school gun violence of some kind. Former FBI agent Rob D'Amico says this drone program is promising for school shooting response, but the root of the crisis remains.
It's still not at the point where you're, quote, stopping school shootings. Stopping school shootings is preventing the gun to get into the school, which is proven problematic.
Until then, the members of this unlikely team of drone pilots plucked from around.
If only there was something we could do to stop the gun from getting in the school. What up, TJ? I know you're doing AI and drones and stuff, but it's important I let you know that Bill's hat came in. Fair. Go Bills.
Around the country say they're ready.
When he told me, hey, we got this opportunity in Texas, it sounds crazy, but it may work, I said, I'm in.
Ready for a day they hope never comes.
I'd be happy to put this system in every school in America and never use it.
A radical response for unthinkable reality in today's America. Marissa Parra, NBC News, Miami.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC.
Yeah. I love it here. What sucks, TJ, is that the first Bills preseason game isn't until next Saturday, as opposed to today, which would be a lot cooler. The drones have pilots. The drones are armed with pepper ball guns and apparently can run into people at high rate of speed, maybe knock them over. They knocked over a dummy, but I don't know how much sand or water was in the base of the dummy, so difficult to say how much force they're actually applying. There you go. All right. AI model wars heating up. What up, Michael?
Between Gemini's new DeepThink version.
Yeah, exactly. If only there was something that we could do.
OpenAI leaking and then retracting both their open source model and maybe GPT-5, plus new agents from Manus, the AI model wars are heating up in a huge way. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. This is one of those shows where there is a better than I'd like chance that by the time you're actually listening to it, a huge amount of the information has changed because something has just been released. But given that, I'm going to try to get it out as soon as possible. And I think even if some new models have been released in the meantime, the broader point that model competition is heating up significantly right now is going to remain. So to dig into this, obviously, if you are paying attention to AI right now, the big thing that everyone is waiting for is GPT-5. It feels like we are a matter of days away from this, We've seen more and more examples of what people think is GPT-5 in the wild. We had a bunch of what we thought were test models that were taken off the testing arena, suggesting that it was getting ready for release. And then just today, we got GPT-5 for a few minutes only to see it get removed. Basically, very briefly on Hugging Face, a new reported OpenAI model called GPT-5 New Proxy API EV3 popped up only to be withdrawn very, very quickly thereafter. In addition, we got what looked like OpenAI's open source model. In fact, it looked like we got two versions of it, GPT OSS 120B and GPT OSS 20B. So potentially a 120 billion parameter version and a 20 billion parameter version. Chedislua writes, the repo only provided 3 bits of info, dtypes, config.json, and the weights. Now, people dug in very quickly to the limited information we had, with a lot of people assuming that this was actually an intentional leak to build up hype. People are speculating about the architecture, thinking that it's a mixture of experts model, and other people are just starting to get hyped. VracerX writes, Elon says OpenAI betrayed their mission, but meanwhile, OpenAI just leaked O3 level open source models and deleted them. Too late. 120 billion parameters, MOE with 4 experts, runs on a single H100. 130K context, rope scaled, blazing fast, multilingual code native FP4 train. No API, no gatekeeping, just raw weights. They write this might be the biggest open source moment since DeepSeek. Mistral who? Meta what? If this is real, the monopoly just cracked. Now, a lot of the dissection so far is pretty technical and obviously doesn't have anything to do with the sort of use case discussion that is the bread and butter of this show. But the point is that it appears that in addition to GPT-5 coming very soon, we are very much on the verge of getting their open weights model as well. And at least from the developer community, there is easily as much excitement about that. Although to be fair, there is also some amount of lingering skepticism. Nathan Lambert writes, I welcome all contributions to open model ecosystem, but seriously doubt we can rely on OpenAI to be a long-term champion we need in releasing more models. Happy to be proven wrong. We'll see what the next couple days bring. Now, if a lot of the excitement is about the theoretical OpenAI models coming soon, Google swooped in with something that I don't think people really expected. You'll remember that recently we got both OpenAI and Google achieving the equivalent of a gold medal on the International Math Olympiad with state-of-the-art versions of their models. While Sam Altman made it clear that exactly that version wouldn't be coming to consumers anytime soon, Google just dropped their version of that model. It's called Gemini 2.5 DeepThink. CEO Sundar Pichai writes, we're bringing a version of DeepThink that achieved gold medal status at IMO to Ultra subscribers in the Gemini app, and the official version is now in the hands of mathematicians. So editor's note here, it sounds like this is close enough for them to claim it's the same thing, but there are some differences apparently with the version that some number of mathematicians have. Anyways, Pichai continues, toggle it on when reasoning through complex scientific literature, tackling a coding problem that requires careful consideration of time complexities, or anything else Demis Hassabis considers a fun Friday night. Putting my branding hat on for a second, being geeky and playful is a good fit for Google. They should do more of this. In their blog post, they talk a little bit more about how DeepThink works. Basically, they say that it extends Gemini's parallel thinking time. Just as people tackle complex problems by taking the time to explore different angles, weigh potential solutions, and refine a final answer, DeepThink pushes the frontier of thinking capabilities by using parallel thinking techniques. This approach lets Gemini generate many ideas at once and consider them simultaneously, even revising or combining different ideas over time before arriving at the best answer. By extending the inference time or thinking time, we give Gemini more time to explore different hypotheses and arrive at creative solutions to complex problems. We've also developed novel reinforcement learning techniques that encourage the model to make use of these extended reasoning paths, thus enabling DeepThink to become a better, more intuitive problem solver over time. Now, the principle of this makes total sense to me, right? It's not dissimilar to the core idea underlying my Doctor Strange theory, which is basically that when you have this much intelligence, one of the really interesting ways to deploy it is to use a bunch of different scenarios, basically to answer a question in a bunch of different ways, and then see which one seems to be best for whatever set of criteria. So what are the types of use cases that this approach opens up? One, says Google, is iterative design and development. They write, we've been impressed by DeepThink's performance on tasks that require building something complex piece by piece. For example, we've observed DeepThink can improve both the aesthetics and functionality of web development tasks. The example prompt they give is design and create a very creative, elaborative, and detailed voxel art scene of a pagoda in a beautiful garden with trees, including some cherry blossoms. Make the scene impressive and varied and use colorful voxels. Use whatever libraries to get this done, but make sure I can paste it all into a single HTML file and open it in Chrome. It shared the outputs of Gemini 2.5 Flash, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Gemini 2.5 DeepThink. Other areas they highlight for DeepThink are scientific and mathematical discovery, basically saying it's a powerful tool for researchers, as well as algorithmic development and code. Specifically, they say that it excels at tough coding problems in which formulation and careful consideration of trade-offs and time complexity is paramount. Now, this being a new model release, of course, there had to be some benchmarks, and according to Google at least, DeepThink absolutely crushes them. On humanity's last exam, it meaningfully exceeds Gemini, OpenAI, and Grok 4, which you'll remember just about 5 minutes ago was the model that everyone was talking about. On Live Code Bench, it also sees a major jump up. And then, of course, in mathematics, on both the IMO 2025 and the AIME 2025, there is a major step change with this model. Now, so far, not too many people have popped up sharing their early access experiments with DeepThink, so we're going to have to wait a couple days to see what people do with it when they get their hands on it. That said, the people who have had it are reporting pretty favorable first impressions. Writes Professor Ethan Malik, very good model, big gains over standard Gemini 2.5 Pro for a lot of problems. One of the examples he gives is the Starship control panel prompt that he tries with every model. We recently shared a version that he thought might be GPT-5, which was very impressive relative to the previous competitors, but he pointed out that this is the first time he's seen a model make a 3D interface in response. By the way, if you were watching this is the one that we previously shared. He wrote the Mystery Model Summit with the prompt, create something I can paste into P5.js that will startle me with its cleverness in creating something that invokes the control panel of a starship in the distant future. 2,351 lines of code first time. He also shared his otter on a plane using Wi-Fi and draw a unicorn with TickZ, which as he says is a language built for scientific diagrams and very much not for drawing. Now, right now, DeepThink is only available for Ultra subscribers, and over the next couple days, I'll be keeping an eye out for people who are experimenting, and frankly, if I don't see enough of it, I'll just dig in there myself. Now, it's not just raw state-of-the-art frontier models that are interesting right now. There's a lot of interface development happening around the models as well. Manus, for example, on Thursday introduced what they're calling wide research, as opposed to deep research, get it? They write, earlier this year, the launch of Manus defined the category of general AI agents and shaped how people think about what agent products can and should be. But to us, Manus was never just an AI. It has always been a one-of-a-kind personal cloud computing platform. Traditionally, harnessing cloud compute for custom workflows has been a privilege reserved for engineers and power users. At Manus, we believe AI can democratize that power. Behind every Manus session runs a dedicated cloud-based virtual machine, allowing users to orchestrate complex cloud workloads simply by talking to an agent. From generating tailored rental presentations to safely evaluating cutting-edge open-source projects, the Turing completeness of the virtual machine is what gives Manus its generality and opens the door to endless creative possibilities. Naturally, we've been asking ourselves, how can we scale the compute available to each user by 100x? And what new possibilities emerge when anyone can control a supercomputing cluster just by chatting? After months of optimization, our large-scale virtualization infrastructure and highly efficient agent architecture have made this vision a reality. Today, we're introducing the first feature built on top of this foundation, Manus Wide Research. They say that basically Manus is a way to go after complex, large-scale tasks that might require information on, for example, hundreds of items. So, for example, if you wanted to understand recent earnings results across all of the Fortune 500, that's the sort of breadth that wide research is designed for. What the wide really conveys, and this goes back a little bit to the architecture conversation we were just having around DeepThink as well, is that this is a system for parallel processing, and those are the words that they use. In fact, they write at its core, wide research is a system-level mechanism for parallel processing and a protocol for agent-to-agent collaboration. The key to wide research, they write, isn't just having more agents, it's how they collaborate. Unlike traditional multi-agent systems based on predefined roles, every subagent in wide research is a fully capable general-purpose Manus instance, which is super interesting. Basically, this means that tasks are not bound by a predetermined architecture of agents, but the model can theoretically figure that out. And once again, people are only just starting to get access to wide research, but people are into exploring this approach of breaking research into subtasks and seeing agents work on them in parallel. One more platform that I view in this model battle that is again more of an interface or an approach update than it is just a model improvement is Perplexity's Comet browser. Now, this is something I've talked about a fair bit on this show, but I feel like every day that goes on, I'm seeing more and more people rave about Perplexity Comet and desperately try to get an invite to the system. Take, for example, Toby Lutke, the CEO of Shopify, who wrote, "I'm constantly impressed with Perplexity Comet. Amazing to give it a complex task and watch it claim a tab and toil away at it. Browsers are interesting again." People have been sharing their use cases like cleaning up subscriptions, consolidating information, and more. I think people are definitely seeing in this not just a new type of browser, but as the first step to something bigger. Aravind, and not the Aravind Srinivas, who is the CEO of Perplexity, writes, Comet Browser is getting really innovative. Now we can easily automate mundane things we do on the net. I see it as an early precursor to an AI OS. I'm worried Zuck and his Meta, who suck all our data, is going to get there first. I hope not. I root for
What up, Cosmic? He's good. He's sleeping. He's right here. He's just chill. We just chilling.
Perplexity winning it. Mostly, if you are an enfranchised AI user, what a time to be alive. We've got exciting rumors coming every day, actually super powerful new models to use, agentic systems in practice for the first time, and whole new interfaces to explore. I highly recommend taking some time this weekend to go check out some of these new tools. Although, like I said, it's getting a little pricey given that all of them are coming to their version of an Ultra subscription first. But still, what a time to be alive. Excited to see what we all get to build next. For now, that is going to do it for today.
All right. So that kind of covered the next two that I was going to touch on. So we're going to move right on to this. All right. So there's this channel, Pivot to AI. The link for this? Absolutely. At one point in time, we were going to watch a Pivot to AI, one of their videos. It just never worked out. And they are notably anti-AI with the Zitron brand of whatever it is that Zitron does. But this story, which we're going to do these two videos on, this thing called Showrunner, is actually something that your boy has been involved with. About a year ago, I had talked about something that I was involved with, the use of the tool, helping the development of the tool, but I couldn't talk about it, right? They wanted things on the down low. And now that it's out there, I am going to talk about the things that I did a year ago. They have asked not to do stuff with the current technology that they have, not to share it. It's still like hush hush, and I'm going to respect that. But I will show you some things that I created, as I said, about a year ago. But first,
hi, I'm David Gerard, and this is Pivot to AI. After you've already pivoted to NFTs and the metaverse, today, Showrunner from Fable lets you generate your own bad episodes of South Park with AI. Meet Edward Sachi. Ed runs Fable Studios, which started as a virtual reality studio in 2018. A couple of pivots later, Fable has an exciting new project called Showrunner that lets you make your own TV show episodes with AI. It all launches next week, or it relaunches anyway. They're calling it the Netflix of AI. In the press release, anyway. Sachi says you can type in a few words and the AI will generate scenes or a whole show. There are 2 test shows, including one called Exit Valley, which is a copy of South Park set in Silicon Valley. Here is an excerpt.
All right, kids. Today we're going to deep dive into our very own backyard, Silicon Valley. We're going to learn about the history of how a little valley became the tech mecca of the world.
Hey, not another documentary about money-hungry tech nerds.
Brilliant, wasn't it? You might think satire requires razor-sharp scripting where every line has to hit. But at Showrunner, you can do something shaped a bit like a satire with middling chatbot sentences read out by an AI computer voice. It's not clear.
Okay, as this dipshit is woefully unaware of, you can actually go in and after you can produce a scene. Let me just show you an example of. Again, this is the old, right? This isn't the current. So it looks exactly like South Park.
Ready to get schooled in more ways than one, Elon?
Okay, and again, I'm not saying that this is great in its quality. It was something that like needed to be edited. Yes, Michael.
Ready to get schooled in more ways than one, Elon?
Laugh all you want, Jeff. The only thing you'll schooled at is losing.
You underestimate me, Mr. Marsman.
Yeah, well, Mr. Prime Day, you're about to get Amazon Primed out of here.
We'll see about that.
You're all talk and no stock, Bezos.
And you're all hype and no rocket, Musk.
Let the dance-off begin.
Bring it on, Space Cowboy.
More like Space Rockstar.
We'll see who's the real star after this.
You're going down faster than your stock prices.
And you're going down faster than a Tesla on autopilot.
First move, Bezos.
Watch and learn, Musk.
Nice try, but check this out.
So the idea behind this was that they were doing a dance-off on Mars. That was the premise. This needed to be edited, and a few more iterations needed to be done. But I just wanted to show you what it looked like.
Impressive, but not enough.
See if you can top this.
Challenge accepted.
Is that all you got?
I'm just getting started, Musk.
I've got moves you've never seen.
And I've got surprises you're not ready for.
Give me your best shot.
Here it comes.
Solid, but watch this.
Nice try, and checkmate.
Not so fast, Bezos.
Ready to admit defeat?
Over my dead rocket.
Bring everything you've got.
You asked for it.
Impressive, but not enough.
It's not over yet.
Time to end this.
Give it your best shot.
Watch and learn.
Is that all?
Just one more move.
Make it count.
You won't forget this.
And here's my counter.
You actually did it.
I always do.
Still think you can beat me?
I've already won.
We'll let the audience decide.
Let's see what they say.
Fine by me.
Good game, Bezos.
Likewise, Musk.
Next round in Mars?
Only if you can actually get there.
Oh, I'll get there. Just wait.
Until next time, Musk.
You better believe it, Bezos.
The battle has just begun.
Okay. And the thing about it was that after it was done rendering, you could go in and edit the script and rerun it. So again, the this dipshit
requires razor sharp.
It's like any other tool, any other AI tool, in which you can, whatever you put into it is what you get out of it. Here's another one.
This better be worth the billion we sunk into it.
Oh, come on. When have my ideas ever disappointed?
Remember Hyperloop? Let's just start this thing. I'm itching to see it in action.
Just don't tell Alexa. She gets jealous.
Typical Bezos, worried about his glorified speaker.
Sparing matches, boys. Let's get this show on the road. Activating AI VR.
Is this supposed to tingle?
You'll feel more than that. Neural networks, baby.
I see flying bananas. AI-generated surrealism at its finest.
Is this supposed to be impressive?
Look deeper, Jeff. The bananas are a metaphor.
For what? Slip-ups? Each piece represents a flaw in your empire.
I don't need a headset to know my flaws.
But it's more fun this way.
Fun? I'm more confused than at a shareholder meeting. Creativity is born from confusion.
Keep telling yourself that, Plato.
Watch, it's morphing.
Now it's raining Tesla logos. Next level branding.
If only it was profitable.
Give it time, like Mars.
Less space talk, more earthbound miracles. Miracles cost money.
Which I have plenty of.
And vision, Jeff. Don't forget vision.
Vision is overrated. Show me results.
Spoken like a true capitalist. What do you see now?
Is that a gravestone?
With your name on it.
That's a bit morbid, even for you, Elon. It's an existential reminder.
To what? Sell more products?
To innovate or die trying.
Inspirational, truly. Now it's transitioning again.
Finally, what now?
Your dreams manifest.
My island? No, Jeff's rocket.
Is this to mock me?
To challenge you.
Reality check. We're all just playing God. Speaking of, look at this divine art.
More like a divine mess.
Some messes lead to masterpieces.
Then I'm a walking Picasso. Adjusting parameters. Let's see beyond.
What's beyond a mess?
A clearer mess.
You've got a gift for sarcasm. Now look closely.
Are those tiny people?
Micro avatars. They represent users.
Big Brother in a headset. Precisely. User behavior modeled in 3D.
Spying on customers, essentially.
Data-driven art.
I'm surprised there are no ads popping up. Let's patch that in the next update.
More revenue streams. Now you're speaking my language.
Always about the bottom line.
Is there more to see? Infinitely. Stay tuned.
This better evolve.
Evolve or dissolve.
Speaking of dissolving, I think I'm having an AI-induced migraine. Powering down.
Good. Let's debrief over something real.
Or something surreal.
How about both? I'll get the champagne.
And I'll bring the reality check. This better be worth the billion we sunk in.
Like that. There's some other ones. I had Elon and Sam Altman doing. I couldn't get them to sing, but I got them quoting Union songs back and forth to each other. That was kind of neat. And so, yeah, it was a thing, and that was a year ago. And now the technology is improved, but of course, people like this, people like Anthony Fantano, they look at the worst possible example of any given thing and then use that as their reference point so that they can dunk on it rather than actually taking the time to understand what it is the fuck they're talking about.
Scripting where every line has to hit. But at Showrunner, you can do something shaped a bit like a satire with middling chatbot sentences read out by an AI computer voice. It's not clear either how much of those visuals were actually generated by a diffusion model and weren't just pre-rendered.
They're all generated. Like if you've ever used Midjourney, you enter in your prompt in the Discord and then it shows up in that, particular Discord channel. Same thing. It was that same kind of process. You would pick your actors, your camera angle, that kind of stuff, and it would show up and be generated within that same channel. And then afterwards, as I said, you can go in and you could edit the script. You could create new characters. You could create new scenes, new backgrounds, the whole nine.
Saatchi thinks people will definitely pay $20 a month to generate new content for Disney. Quote, "The Toy Story of AI isn't just going to be a cheap Toy Story. Our idea is that the Toy Story of AI would be playable, with millions of new scenes, all owned by Disney." Unquote. Even if this could work technically, I'm pretty sure almost nobody is going to pay to watch a fake TV show that someone else generated by scribbling in a few prompts. The closest we have...
Again, it depends on how good it is, right? Like, that's ultimately what all this stuff. People, again, if you look at Suno, this one is 6.2 thousand plays, 9.4, 29,000, and then others, 10. I know this person. 750, like it's going to vary, just like YouTube, just like everything else. If your stuff hits, it'll hit. If it doesn't hit, it won't hit.
To a use case is the guys who will do obnoxious parodies because the rights holders will hate them. Let's get Mickey Mouse doing something edgy. Ooh. Edward Saatchi got his start in life as the son of Morris Saatchi of the Saatchi & Saatchi advertising agency in the UK. He was a Forbes 30 under 30 in 2011, joining such illustrious 30s under 30 as Martin Shkreli and Sam Bankman-Fried. Ed Saatchi has quite the track record behind him. In 2014, he did Oculus Story Studios, a division of Oculus VR at Facebook. They made some titles for virtual reality headsets and nobody bought them. Facebook shut the studio down in 2017 and Saatchi started Fable. Saatchi also got into NFTs in 2021 with Animoca Brands' Sandbox project. This went to the dumpster where all NFTs ended up. Then Saatchi did a stint in the metaverse in 2023. Dig this clip of Saatchi talking up AI virtual beings.
But our real goal is to have 10 million AIs living in the virtual world, getting smarter over time until, one of them has a sort of Promethean breakthrough and, actually becomes the first AI virtual.
He's got this interesting idea as part of the whole thing, is that he's also trying to create a virtual world in which there are characters who are watching the shows that people create. So little AI characters within this virtual world, and they are watching the shows that the humans create. It's a neat little concept. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it to where he wants it to, but at least he's trying something and not just sitting on the internet and bitching about other people trying stuff.
Beings.
Yeah, that's great, Ed. So maybe generating mediocre AI slop South Park ripoffs will really take off. Maybe. Sachi told Variety, maybe nobody wants this and it won't work. You think? Thanks for tuning in to Pivot to AI. In news coverage, you may have heard of the Bollywood studio claiming it'll render a new ending for a film using AI. You and I know this is...
Yeah, I don't care. You're annoying. You're exactly as annoying as I thought you were going to be. So now to pivot to the other side of AI. See what I did there? Wes Roth, who's probably going to be more enthusiastic about the idea.
All right, you two, this is it. AGI, the real deal. And we need to decide what the hell to do with it.
Decide? Sam, this is the goddamn Prometheus of our time. We use it to terraform Mars, obviously. Imagine, AGI-powered Martian cities.
Terraform Mars? Are you out of your mind, Elon?
Guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves. What if we just, monetize the of it first, like AGI as a service?
That's your plan? Jesus Christ, we're so
Wait, what if we ask it, the AGI, what it wants?
Showrunner is back. It's open to the public. You can start testing it on your very own and start creating your very own shows. Now, this is the alpha. It's sort of the very first stage of what they're trying to accomplish. But I gotta say, even right now, it's pretty impressive. In this video, I'll show you how to test it out for yourself. It's free. It's available to the public. We'll talk about why.
And apparently, you can now use it yourself, which is cool.
Amazon just invested in this thing and why there's probably a lot more money coming. And I'll show you how to start creating your very own episodes in seconds. But first, here's a taste of what this thing is able to produce.
Elon, I've been thinking, what if we put tariffs on weather?
What the actual fuck are you talking about, Donald? Tariffs on weather? Oh, for fuck's sake. Are you gonna tariff the sun next? Maybe slap a fine on the moon for being too bright.
Don't be ridiculous, Elon. The moon doesn't pay taxes. Everyone knows that.
Because, Mark, you weren't the first to underestimate me. And you sure as shit won't be the last. Wait, what the Goodbye, Mark.
Sam, you smug son of a bitch, I did it. I created superintelligence.
Oh, you did it? That's cute, Ilya. Guess what? So did I.
What the fuck, Sam? Your version is going to be a goddamn dumpster fire of safety violations. You arrogant prick. You're playing with fire, and you don't even have a goddamn extinguisher.
Relax, Ilya. Maybe your AI can knit you a safety blanket.
You're about to feel the AGI, bitch?
Mark, buddy, how's your quest to turn Facebook into Skynet going?
Alan Arnley, I think I'm saying that correct. Welcome in. Eventually they'll be able to do this really well. Even if people don't want to be a character themselves, they'll be easily writing their own show plots to watch the same day. Agreed, right? Is it going to be for everybody? No, of course not. The point is, and those introductory pieces, in my opinion, kind of mid, right? The humor's a little mid. Definitely, we've gone from South Park to Rick and Morty, and like that, but it's about the quality that you put into it, right? You could, like, if you're a decent writer, but you can't get any actors, you can't get animators because you're broke ass, you could make your own little cartoon. And if you're a good writer, then people will be into it. Right? The YouTube is full of people trying their hand at things and doing what they can with what they have. And this is just the next step in that.
Oh, Elon, you're one to talk. How's your AI doing? Does it still think it's Mecha Hitler? Elon talks about AI risk, like he didn't just name his kid after a regex pattern.
Elon says he's worried about AI destroying the world. Dude, you destroyed Twitter in under a year. I think you're projecting. Here's the thing. I build emerging intelligence. You build cars that merge into buildings.
Oh, please, Sam.
That was clever.
Your AI couldn't plot its way out of a CAPTCHA test. Sam talks about AGI safety while giving the world an AI that hallucinates like it's on acid. Sam talks about AGI alignment like he's a saint, but the only thing he's aligned so far is OpenAI with Microsoft's wallet.
All right, I think we've established one thing. None of us should be trusted with superintelligence. Or, frankly, anything sharper than a spoon.
All right, so first and foremost, this is Showrunner. We first heard of them last year when they did that South Park episodes that were put out. And this week on Wednesday, yesterday actually, Amazon announced that they invested in this company, Fable. And that's the same day that it became available to the public as an alpha. The idea is simple. Use artificial intelligence to create great TV shows. You no longer need capital, actors, script writers, animators, anything. You just need AI and your natural brilliance, and you can create your very own storylines. As the Fable CEO Edward Sachi put it, Showrunner is the Netflix of AI. So how it works is there are different worlds, or shows, if you will. The one that's currently available for alpha users is Exit Valley. If you look really hard, you'll probably find some characters that you have heard of before. It has Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, and tons of more characters. There's a customization ability so you can create your own. There's even community-created ones. This is Ed, the creator. We'll see this clip in just a second, and you might see him on our podcast.
And they've also consistently done town hall meetings every week for the past year, right? Like they are accessible. You know, they really have put in effort to try and give the users what they wanted, you know, while at the same time moving the project forward. And it was just fascinating watching like some new piece of technology come out in the outside world and them try to, you know, incorporate it in their system. It's been an impressive journey. Like I really hope that it finds some utility with people.
Soon. Iman Mastak, who is the creator of Stable Diffusion, can't wait to try it. And apparently, so it happens, he's in the show. He's one of the characters in the show. So really fast, let me show you what this thing can do. First and foremost, to join, go to this URL, showrunner.xyz. Click the join button near the top, and you'll be invited into a Discord server where everything happens. Here's kind of what that looks like. I think they're probably borrowing a page out of Midjourney's playbook when Midjourney got started, this AI art, AI image generator. You had to use Discord to generate the images. A lot of people...
Eventually, they're going to have to get to a standalone website, just because Discord is not like... The vast majority of people, I think, aren't really like Discord people. They're not going to go out of their way to join another social media system in order to access the product, where they'll go to websites all day.
Hated it. It's not the most intuitive approach. It can be a little bit difficult. So if you're struggling, just know there's a very slight learning curve, but you got to just learn a few commands in order to get this thing going. However, once you learn those, you realize the brilliance of this because you get to see everyone else in the community building live. You have to kind of build live and showcase your work. Get ideas based on what everybody else is doing. It's very easy to ask questions and learn more about it, troubleshoot various prompts, etc. But once you're in here, here's the fastest way to get started. here on the left, scroll down until you find Exit Valley. Now, currently, this is the only sort of a world or series that's available. As we go forward, there's going to be a lot more. There's a Western theme one. There's a sci-fi one. They have tons of ideas that are slowly going to be rolling out. This is just the first one that we have. So under Exit Valley, choose 1, 2, or 3, create 1, create 2, create 3. These are just different channels where you're able to start generating your own clips and movies, etc. All right, here in the message, so we create everything through text, through messages in this chat. So I'm going to type / and I'll see a list of.
So this is an example of like, he's going to go through this, but I just want to point to a bunch of stuff that they have, right? To make your scene / scene. Show would be whatever show, currently only Exit Valley. Your prompt, right? Like what you would like to see. It's a got a LLM in it, and also with the whatever model that they're using to create the cartoon itself. What do you want it to do? Set what background do you want? And again, you can create your own if you're ambitious enough. What characters? They have a tremendous number of characters, with reasonably sounding voices, right? Like they're identifiable as the people. What actions you want to see? Like, do you want the walking aspect, the prompt, filter, all that kind of stuff, and then it's tagged with your handle in there, making it really easy to find later on. You can just do the search. We'll be able to make something like the quality of the 95 Ghost in the Shell probably in a matter of hours. I don't know if I would go quite that far today, right? But it's potentially headed in that direction. What you could definitely do, right? What up, old lobster? You are like very close to at least this level of content. All you would have to do is edit it together.
You gotta what, Tom? What's that? this thing here.
It's a mouth, Tom.
Yeah, well, anyway.
My friends here. Who doesn't love a good late night?
No, I don't want to hear you. I want to hear them.
And easily frightened Tansa as the director of the show. After being forced to deal with this unbearable substitute.
If you have relatively, I think you could get by with medium level editing skills and something like DaVinci, you could oh yeah, no. I've been in it ever since, old lobster. I was just showcasing some of the stuff. Yeah.
All right, what do you want to do?
Do you want to make love, darling?
What did you say to me?
It's not the quality of the animation that drives this scene, right? It's the dialogue. So that's on you as the creator.
Wasn't talking to you. I was practicing for my wedding night.
What?
Don't you ever do that? Don't you ever wonder how something's gonna sound before you say it in a real situation?
Oh, you mean like put your hands behind your head? Or how much for the twins?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, I love Brack. Need more Brack in the world.
Through messages in this chat. So I'm going to type / and I'll see a list of commands. The only one you need to remember in the beginning is this one, /scene. Type /scene, hit enter, and it'll kind of blow it up into different options that you can use. These are different characters and actions and sets that you need to fill out for this thing to start creating. So in this case, we have character 1, action, character 2, set, like the setting of where you want to take place, and the dialogue prompt, the actual sort of what's happening. And you can always click here where it says 12 more and add various other options. For example, I want to add a third character. and perhaps a filter. These are the various filters, like old film projector. You can just select it from here and it gets filled in here. So, but let's do the rest of the scene. So we have character 1. I'll click here in character 1 and let's type Sam Alt and see if we have anything. Sam Altman. SR Plus, these are the community generated ones. These are the suggested ones. So we'll take Sam Altman. There are tons of actions like having an existential crisis, thinking, yawning, fistfight, etc. Character 2, we're going to have Elon. Elon Musk is here. For the set, there's tons of different sets like Unicorn, Dragon, and Genetic Engineering Lab. You know what? I'm actually going to choose that one. And character 3 is going to be, I'm going to do Ilya Sutskever. Ilya Sutskever, check. And dialogue prompt, this is the actual prompt that you're giving it. What do you want the scene to be about? If you're using an action, make sure you specify when you want that action to take place. You can be pretty broad and kind of just give the backstory, and the AI will generate the entire dialogue for you. If you want a specific line to be used, you can include that in there as well. And I'll say Elon, Sam, and Ilya are meeting in the OpenAI basement. Sam has discovered AGI and is trying to figure out what to do with it. Elon wants to use it to colonize Mars. Sam really wants to use it to make a lot of money. Ilya is worried about what's going to happen and wants to build a bunker before releasing it. And we'll say it ends in a cliffhanger. And for activity, I'm going to say drinks coffee. A lot of these other activities can be a little bit tricky to edit. So if you're using something specific like a fistfight, make sure to specify exactly where in the script that fistfight happens. All right, activity drinks coffee, and then we hit enter. And as you can see here, so the showrunner app is saying it's going to generate dialogue, it's going to generate the animations. Don't worry if you don't get it right on the first time. I'll show you exactly how to edit it to your specifications. There are tons of other commands. We have scene, combine, story to generate a story, characters to see the various available characters. Now, doing this actually takes you to a different page. So this URL, you can create a new character here or see the available characters here. There are tons of different characters, sets, places, props. You can create your very own character. You can upload images.
This used to be super clunky and is significantly improved.
Or describe them, select an existing voice, or record or upload a voice sample and have basically a brand new character be generated. Give them a backstory, where are they located, San Francisco, for example. As you can see, there's quite a bit of power here. There's a lot of editing abilities, and you can use this to really bring your imagination to life. As you're going through it, check out the FAQs and also tips and tricks. There's some great tips and tricks in here. That's actually how I learned about the actions. Actions can be a little bit tricky if you want finer dialogue control, languages, how to add pauses, varying tones, etc. So again, there's quite a bit of control here. And once your scene is ready, it'll appear here. You can see this clip and download it here. You can download it by clicking this button, or it's embedded here so you can just watch it in Discord. Let's take a look.
All right, you two, this is it. AGI, the real fucking deal. And we need to decide what the hell to do with it.
Decide? Sam, this is the goddamn Prometheus of our time. We use it to terraform Mars, obviously. Imagine, AGI-powered Martian cities.
Terraform Mars? Are you out of your fucking mind, Elon? We don't even know if this thing won't, turn us into paper clips first.
Guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves. What if we just, monetize the shit out of it first, like AGI as a service?
Monetize. Sam, you're thinking like a goddamn accountant. This is about destiny, not dollars. Mars is the next frontier.
Destiny. How about survival, Elon? We need a bunker. A big fuck-off bunker. Before this thing decides we're obsolete.
A bunker? Jesus, Ilya, you sound like JD Vance after a bad acid trip.
JD Vance? That guy couldn't engineer his way out of a fucking paper bag. Focus, Sam. Mars.
Mars won't matter if we're all dead, Elon. We need to control this thing, or it'll control us.
Control it? Or sell it to the highest bidder? Think about it. Trillions, guys. Trillions.
Trillions won't mean shit if we're extinct, Sam. We need to act now. AGI on Mars or bust.
Bust? That's your plan? Jesus Christ, we're so fucked.
Wait, what if we ask it, the AGI, what it wants?
And that's the cliffhanger. What if we ask the AGI? And as you can see, that's setting up the next scene that we're able to generate next. Okay, but what happens if some of those things feel off? The dialogue is not quite right. What if they say something that you didn't want them to say? What do? It's actually pretty cool. You click the Edit Script button here, and you get to this page, the Scene Script Editor. You have the original video here. You can rate it, and it has a kind of a powerful editor. So first and foremost, here's the script. So as you can see here, it starts with the character name, colon, and then a sort of the thing that they say, the line.
And this is another cool feature was the shot type. You could do different, shots, medium, close up, that kind of stuff, all within this. And I assume I haven't used it in a minute. Again, my time constraints, such as they are, but it was fairly impressive in its capabilities a year ago.
Below we have this hashtag shot type. I'll explain that in a second. And then anxious. So that's the delivery voice, the tone of the voice, right? You can have angry, neutral, anxious, etc. And if you want them to cut to another character while that character is talking to see the reaction, this is the cut to Sam Altman, for example. So that's the script on the right. If you keep scrolling down, there are these helpful notes that actually explain what all those things mean. Various shot types spells out exactly what to put in to get that specific shot of the characters. Dutch angle shot, shot motions, right? Zoom in, zoom out, pan across, camera shake, right? If something scary is happening. Blair Witch style camera shaking. We can hide or unhide characters, pauses, cutting to various other things and places. Tons of power here to edit the script. On the left here, we're able to edit the set. We're able to edit the characters. Are they sitting or standing? We can add video clips, props, control actions, etc. And you're able to edit what they say right here in the script. Just type in whatever you want. I suggest reading through tips and tricks if you want to get fancy with it, because there's a lot of advanced stuff in there. So let's say I delete this line and I'll write in this. I asked it how to make the best cup of coffee, and it just happened to bring it online. Talking about the AGI. So once we change it there, we just hit the generate video here at the bottom. And once it's done generating, you can see the new and improved version.
All right, you two, this is it. AGI. I asked it how to make the best cup of coffee, and that just happened to bring it online. And we need to decide what the hell to do with it.
So let me know what you think about this. Do you think this is going to disrupt?
This is the thing, Sim Francisco that I was talking about before, where there's these little AI characters who can watch your TV shows and interact with each other. It's a whole thing.
Hollywood. Are you excited about this? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Let me know in the comments. And if you try this out and create something insane with it, definitely tag me on Twitter/X. I want to see it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
You've probably seen news articles.
Stop talking, Dave. So yeah, I think it's cool. Your mileage, of course, is going to vary based on your interests. But that is the website if you want to join and get in there and have fun with it and maybe create something awesome. All right. So Dave, as per spec, is saying that the headlines about the AI taking jobs are wrong, but wrong in the sense that it's many, many more jobs than are being reported.
You've probably seen news articles like this one. The Wall Street Journal says CEOs are shrinking their workforces and they couldn't be prouder. Now, in the whisper networks that I have been privileged to join because of my work on post-labor economics, this is actually very true. And it's also what's happening behind the scenes, where every company that is deploying AI and using it to reduce headcount, they're all salivating about how much they can save, on the bottom dollar on headcount, because humans are very expensive to employ. Now, of course, you'll, if you do some cursory research into this, you'll see people saying, well, it's the tariffs, it's other economic concerns, it's the Doge layoffs. And so what I really wanted to do was do some research and crunch some hard numbers and figure out how many jobs, see if we could figure out how many jobs this year have been reduced or avoided due to artificial intelligence. Now, a recent report showed that it's about 80,000 to 100,000. So we can go from that, but here's the numbers that I came to and the methodology that I used. And I used several AI tools. I used a combination of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok to cross-validate and cross-check everything that you see here. And this infographic was actually generated by Gemini. So if you didn't know Gemini could do that, now you do. All right, so bottom line up front is that we found that there's probably about 300,000 to 500,000 missing jobs due in large part to artificial intelligence as of end of July 2025. Now, the official layoffs due to AI is only about 20 to 30,000. So let's see if we can explain the difference here.
What up, Silverlight? Tell me again how it's not a conspiracy when they all seem to be lying in the same kind of way about the same kind of things, even and especially the top levels of government in their reporting. What do you mean by conspiracy, right? Because it's not hidden, right? There's no, or do you mean conspiracy in the sense of, can you elaborate so I can respond? What up, Senator? It's good to know. I'm in need of an infographic development. Yeah, no, there are some good tools out there. What up, Jenny Burns? Gemini can, but ChatGPT is better at it if you're polite. As always, y'all need to try out the different tools to figure out which tool is the best for your needs. You have many options, right? You should figure out which one suits your needs the best and works with your tool. Hey, I'm not saying it'll have any effect on your future, but a little kindness, a little politeness goes a long way.
First, part one, the layoffs that are officially acknowledged. So in terms of surveys that have gone out, only about 10,000 were explicitly saying, we laid you off because of AI. Another 20,000 said that it was because of technological updates, and then
mostly just me expressing frustration. That I understand. Yeah, we live in extremely frustrating times. I don't expect a more serious response necessarily. It's just mostly in the way they have been lying. It was hidden. Yeah, no, I mean, the lying, take care. The lying, the gaslighting, all of that kind of thing that's been going on. Especially the current administration and their current level of gaslighting, literally telling us we're not seeing things that we're not seeing. I find gaslighting to be one of the most frustrating experiences to deal with, and it happens a lot. So yeah.
A further 20,000 said reason not specified, which could be anything, restructuring, that sort of stuff. So depending on how you read this, it's anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 jobs have been explicitly acknowledged to be, or implied to be, artificial intelligence as a potential reason for the layoff.
It's gaslit, Ponder Monkey. Gaslit is a myth.
Now that is a far cry from the 80,000 that some people are reporting, or 100,000 that other people are reporting, and it's certainly a far cry from the 300 to 500,000 jobs that I'm reporting. So let's look at the data and see if we can figure it out. Now, one thing that you need to know is that basically what I'm doing here is I'm using the same logic that David Autor, an economist from MIT, used a couple decades ago to find the missing millions jobs in manufacturing, where what you do is you look at the total headcount, the nominal headcount of employees in a given sector or industry, and then you look at the economic output of that industry or sector, and then you say, okay, how much more productive are people being? And based on previous, how much, labor went into a particular unit of productivity was used to generate that level of output in the past. So in Q2 of 2025, we saw real GDP growth of 3%, but we saw a decline in aggregate weekly hours of minus 0.3. So if hours of labor goes in, and that number goes down, but output still goes up, that's a gap. So this shows that we should have had quite a bit more labor. So automation can be generally directly accused, I guess, of covering.
So if I'm reading what he's saying correctly, because he's a little fumbling with the explanation, this is the idea we talked about the other day, where in addition to jobs that are lost, are jobs that are not being hired for, right? And those jobs are going to be more difficult to track. If last year they would have hired 2 additional people in your division or whatever, and they only hire 1 person this year, but the productivity of your department is staying the same or increasing, then that job is a job that technically was lost from the greater economy, right? And this is actually like a really problematic thing as far as worker interaction with the economy and consumer interaction with the economy. But again, it's very challenging to track because you have to extrapolate a whole bunch of things and then make suggestions rather than actually be able to point to something. The whole predatory gig economy has been replacing any real jobs for a long while now, more and more. Yeah, and that's another aspect of it, right? Like, has your department begun to hire temporary contractors rather than permanent employees? And what impact has that had as well, in adjacent to these other features?
That gap, because if you achieve more with fewer people, that is exactly the point of automation. That's what we saw with the last 2 centuries of automation in agriculture, where it went from 70 to 90% of people were employed in agriculture two centuries ago. Then a century ago it was only 40, and today it's only 2%. So agriculture is many times more efficient than it was. So you get a lot more output with a lot less labor input. Next is the payroll share gap. So similarly, when you look at the actual payrolls that companies are sending out versus their quarterly reportings, the corporate profits as a percentage of GDP are 11 and 12%. So we're near record highs for corporate profits, but payroll declined 1%. So that is a much more direct linking the fact that companies are making more money with less people. Now, you can, of course, say some of that could be, price gouging. This is something that we saw during the pandemic, for instance, where a lot of corporations were making all-time high profits because of price gouging and inflation and a few other things. But that's not happening this time. And so when you see that
and that's not inflation as it's traditionally been understood as the changing value of a unit of currency, but the inflation, also referred to as greedflation, wherein the prices went up regardless of it, disconnected from the inflation numbers, right? Like they just increased prices because they thought they could get away with it, and it appears that they were correct. I was going to say that the contract labor market has been increasing dramatically. Some of it had to do with COVID in many sectors, for example, behavioral health and healthcare. Yeah, no, and it's very problematic because you're losing a lot of the traditional benefits. You're losing the job security, which increases the the anxiety level of any particular gig worker. You're losing the like it's had an effect on the consumer economy that I think is like I watched another video about the most recent Amazon Prime Days, right? They added a day, but the numbers actually appear to be down somewhat. And this is also after it led to a bunch of other companies making their own little version of Prime Days to counter Amazon's Prime Days. Actually, we might have that video. I think we have that video, so I'm going to shut up. The whole inflation number reporting gets game too. They changed the definition, etc. The weights are all off, geared more towards luxury rather than necessity survival. They can claim it's 8% when it's really more like 10%. Yeah, the numbers are flawed, right? The numbers are flawed. They're like the fact that there is more than one unemployment statistic is indicative that people are just like basically making shit up and using whatever numbers that they want to make them look better than they would have otherwise. And then there was the whole thing where they have released job numbers, but then gone back after the fact and corrected those job numbers, and the job numbers are in fact worse, but we've already moved on to the next set of job numbers, so we're not talking about the old job numbers and how they were in fact worse. There's a whole thing going on.
GDP is going up and hours worked is going down when you see that corporate profits are up but payrolls are down. That's a pretty strong indicator. Now, you might say, okay, well, Dave, if you're saying that, 300,000 workers to 500,000 workers, where did they go? Why are they not being represented in unemployment? And the reason is right here, evidence C, discouraged worker surge. In the last quarter alone, we went up from 1.5 million marginally attached workers to 1.8 million. That's 300,000 people joining the marginally attached group. Likewise, we went from about 370,000 discouraged workers last quarter to 637,000. So that's about 250,000 people joining the discouraged workers. So this is what we're seeing is downward mobility. So this is all what you'd expect to see in the ramp up towards post-labor economics. Now, so that's the primary evidence that I...
And also related to that aspect is how the most recent, the Many Crime Bunnies Big Beautiful Bill gutted a lot of protections for, the underemployed, the unemployed, the unemployable in a lot of, cases. Those people are, there are a lot of people who would love to work, right? Legitimately would love to work. And there isn't the ability for them to find work in the place that they can get to. Not even the place they live, but the place that they can get to. And rather than try and adapt our safety nets and economy to take care of those people, we're just going to gut the services that they use to survive through that, and what? They're going to be motivated to get the job that they can't find harder. They're just going to move. Where are they going to move? Do you have any idea how much it costs to move? Right? Just just there are so many features that are lining up in this case that it's creating a perfect storm of things are going to get ugly.
Have the primary data. So then...
No, not half our population, Cosmic. Not half our population. About 18%. It's about 18%. It's not half. It's nowhere near half, right? What you're looking at is there's the total population in the United States. Then there's the voting age population in the United States. Then there's the number of voters who actually voted for Trump. About 18%. We have a solution for that up here in Canada, replacing all social benefit. Oh, yeah. That fucking thing. That's a war crime.
To add a little bit of context, what we saw in the last quarter was that there was about a net of about 800,000 job cuts in America in the last quarter. And so 300 to 500,000 is not necessarily a job cut. What some of these are is labor that was made invalid or not needed. So some of the missing millions, I guess it's missing hundreds of thousands, it's not missing millions yet. But some of those missing jobs are just jobs that dried up. There was no, someone quit or retired or was laid off, and then no new job posting in that same category was created. So, however, when we look at the data and we look at, economic headwinds and you look at tariff impacts and Doge cuts, that still only adds up to about 300,000 or so, maybe 400,000 if you're being really, really charitable, which is only about half of the jobs that were cut over the last quarter. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, yes, there are other things going on, and one of the most important things is the knock-on effects of the Doge cuts. So one thing that people are pointing out is that when you cut 300,000 government workers, that offsets a lot of livelihoods, and then the spending that those families had goes down. The services that they bought goes down as well, which can have then spillover effects.
And the reduction in the capacity of the government to fund projects, right? Like due to not even the stuff where they just actually cut the budgets and the amount of money that they had, but the capacity of a reduced number of government workers to get those funds to the people who might be able to use them, right? Like if you apply for some kind of government funding that might still exist, going to extend the amount of time it takes in order to, approve or deny your request. And then, what do you do in the meantime?
So you might say, well, some of this could be explained by those spillovers.
It's not just him, Cosmic. You can't just focus on one guy. Trump is a symptom, but it was an entire Congress, mostly Republicans in this case, but an entire Congress that did not prevent that from happening, right? That allowed that bill, for instance, to pass. That did not step in with regulation around artificial intelligence. That did not, act to, provide some kind of UBI all the way back in the early 1970s, right? Like this is not this new guy showed up and everything went to shit. This guy showed up and it is one aspect of everything going entirely off the rails.
Spillover effects, but if that was the case, if it was just spillover effects, then you wouldn't expect corporate profits to still be this high or GDP growth to be that high. So if this is why, by the way, this is why Julie and I call it the great decoupling, is because GDP and corporate returns are decoupling from human labor. So labor down, profit up. That is the great decoupling.
And that's huge, right? Like it's important to understand that. Like at one point in time, labor and productivity were together, right? And then in the late 1970s, early 1980s, it decoupled. And then this is just a further decoupling of that same process. This has been going on for 40 some odd years now, right? You could argue beforehand or whatever the seeds were laid, et cetera, but this has been going on. This is not new. This is the knock-on effects of previous decisions.
That is the intrinsic nature of post-labor economics and exactly what you expect to see during a surge of automation. So now here in part 4, I wanted to provide even more long-term context, because when you're looking at like unemployment percentages and those sorts of things, it's kind of confusing because sometimes you just want to look at the absolute numbers. So here we have the total amount of actual employment in America. So we have right now close to 160 million people employed in America, 159,724,000.
Also, if you depend on government benefits moving, especially across state lines, not just between counties, can often be a bad idea. Medicaid, having different rules in each state, is incredibly tedious to navigate as it is. 100%. Right? That's a huge thing to look at, right? Like, think of just the act. Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and that's why, like, Reagan was another feature of the process that's happening. Nixon, feature of the process. LBJ, feature of the process, right? LBJ did try to get us UBI, and the Democrats fucked that up. So good job there. But yeah, it's been an ongoing issue. It's not a new thing just because the Orange Man bad showed up. It's been an ongoing feature, and it exists across party lines. But okay, so let's say I want to move right now, right? Like, let's say I'm moving out of my apartment and I want to go to a new apartment. I have to pay my current rent until I get a new apartment. Also, the new apartment, I'm going to have to probably pay first, last, and security, right? So if the apartment was $1,000 a month, I'm just using an easy number, going to vary for a variety of reasons. It's going to be $3,000 to move into the new apartment, plus whatever I'm paying at my current apartment, plus bills, plus whatever it costs to actually move my stuff from point A to point B. Do you got $3,000 extra laying around for $1,000 apartment? And that's assuming you can get one, right? It's going to vary depending on I know people who are currently trying to find apartments and are being put up in hotels because it's cheaper for the government, the state government, to put them up in hotels, and also it's easier for them to do that with these certain hotels and motels and whatnot. It's a really weird time. It would take half a dozen states to stop paying for the others to bring this regime down. Yeah, but there's no organization to do that. Right? Like, what if we all stop paying taxes? Cool. Is that actually going to happen? Yeah, Maddie. Like, I'm not, it is what it is, right? Like, I'm not saying that I'm happy that those people have a roof over their head. That kind of thing. But it's just, those people should be in apartments, right? It should. depending on your value system. Those people should be in apartments. It's just to move apartments in the same vicinity. Yeah, no, I didn't even get to the whole other thing. You want to change counties, right? Like Erie County, which is the county that I live in, is different than like the surrounding counties of like Niagara and Cattaraugus. The rules are different, right? And God forbid if I want to go to Pennsylvania, right? Maybe I want to move to Erie, Pennsylvania, which I could literally drive to in like less than an hour. But it would be a whole different set of rules. What up, Stellar Wingman? I mean, it could be. It could be. We're just going to set up national prison labor camps. California refused to pay its federal taxes. Trump will nationalize California. That will be ugly. And that's why it would need to be an organized kind of thing. But again, you're not wrong. Like, what does that actually look like? Who backs down? Right? If the blue states, right, many crime bunnies, if the blue states decided to all organize and not pay their taxes, is that civil war? Is Tim Pool right? Is that civil war? Like, maybe that isn't, but then what do you do in response? You organize the, well, apparently Trump has been told no, and it just, and that's why he won't let you see the Epstein files.
As of June 2025. Now, this number keeps going up. What you're seeing here, this sharp rise, is the COVID pandemic recovery. So nominally, this looks good. But at the same time, remember that the American population has also gone up due to births and immigration. Now, obviously, immigration is under siege right now, but they're not removing nearly as many people as has come in. So when you add population growth, people coming in for work, and the whole economy recovering from the pandemic, this is kind of what you'd expect to see. But you can see that it's definitely slowing down. So then when you look at labor force participation rate, so this is basically you take everyone who is working age and whether or not they are working, we saw that it was down around 61.5% in the middle of the pandemic. It peaked in a couple years later at 62.6%, and now it has started to drift back down. This means this is where you're seeing a gap where we went
look
from,
at this chart. Let's bring it up.
let's see, last
What am I
year.
looking at? I don't know, but it doesn't look good.
That looks bad.
Yeah, it's probably bad.
It's probably bad. It's probably bad. What up, X1011?
Sorry, June 2024, 62.6%, and now in June 2025, 62.3%. Now, you might say that's only a few tenths of a percent.
You're using a great system when the rules cause more chaos, conflict, and confusion than no rules at all. True. This is going into the scientifically racist great replacement theory. No, right? This isn't, right? Like, I don't want to put that on. Okay. But yeah, these are the charts that they would pull out and then blame it on immigrants. Right. These ding dongs think if they get rid of the immigrants, it'll magically get white chicks that much more pregnant. True. What up, Becca? Johnny, let you sleep in. Always nice. Always nice. Such a small vertical scale. Sure. Right. Like that is also a thing. Right. Like, if you're like, what are your XY axes? And like, if I were to crunch this into, as opposed to dividing it every June, if I were to have these lines be every month and make the graph half the length, then all of a sudden this thing is almost exponential, right? Like, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, no, I understand, Maddie. And I don't disagree.
But when you're talking about literally more than 100 million people, that actually adds up to quite a number of actual humans who have lost their jobs. So then, when you look at the total employment to population ratio, it looks even worse. So this is total number of employees over, so that's the numerator, and the denominator is the total population. So even though the absolute number of jobs is still creeping up slowly, when you look at just what percentage of Americans are actually working, it peaked in 2023 at 60.3% and then started creeping back down, and now it is below 60%. It's 59.7%. So this actually shows a little bit steeper of a decline. Now, some of that is going to be that people aged out of the workforce.
And there's also a thing of like, again, these graphs have a certain amount of utility. There's nothing wrong with them in, per se, but I despise short graphs, generally speaking, right? Like a common one that we have around here is, oh, such and such, what up, Sean? Such and such stock is tanking, like Tesla, right? Oh, look, it's all in the red. Tesla's stock is tanking. It's falling off. Haha, Elon, right? But then you actually like extend it out and they're still like triple the price of when they started, right? From 100 to 300. They're still well above the halfway point on that, right? It's contextual. If you make graphs small, right, then it peaked at almost 330 5 days ago, and now it's down at 300. Look at that decline, right? 5% decline. Holy shit. But then you look at it at the 1 year, it's not where it was back in December 24, but it's not anywhere near August of 24. Right? Someone might call this a correction, right? Where it went high and then a bunch of people sold and then they picked it up, and now, like, this has actually been relatively stable this period here. And you look at it for 5 years, peak, trough, peak, trough, peak, trough, peak, trough, little peaks, little troughs, peak, trough. And it like, this is my favorite when you get something like this, where the peak and the trough, if you inverted the peak, if you sliced it in half, you could drop the peak and the trough, right? This to me is a pump and dump, right? They got a big boost for reasons, and then a bunch of people sold off, and then a bunch of people bought the dip, buy low, sell high, etc. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Maddie. It's like, like, who's making the money out of all this, right? And what's the max on this? Like, look at that thing. It was like $1.46, got up to 20 something, and then right around October 2019, it began this big takeoff, right? And then again, it's had its peaks and troughs, but it's still at $300, right? So if you bought Tesla back here in 2015, you got mad profits you could take. It's 23,000% all time. I don't even believe in stocks anymore. Money that's concentrated in all those dark markets they got and whatever. It's all manipulated as far as I'm concerned. It's fair. Like, you're not wrong, right? Like, there are a tremendous amount of shenanigans. And it's the only thing that people like us, little fish, can do is try and, if you can sniff out one of these peaks, right, and get in before the peak and then sell after the trough, or sell at the peak, sorry, and then like You buy low, sell high, right? Like that's all you can do. But you got to be able to read the room, and a lot of people can't, right? Like it's tantamount to gambling. Tesla stock seems far more like an information technology stock than an industrial with a car. It's not a car company. Yeah, 100%. It deals in, technology, carbon credits, all sorts of other, shenanigans like that. It's not a car company, right? Multinational automotive and clean energy company, right? But you can do this with anything, right? Like, check out NVIDIA, right? Oh no, NVIDIA's in the red. They're going to go out of business any minute now, right? And then you actually look at it, and all the way up until, 2019, not too impressive a stock. And now, August 1st, they're at 173. That is 434,000% over time, right? So,
the boomers are about to retire en masse, although many of them are sticking around longer. So when you take all that into account, it's...
I think retirement is over, dudes. A lot of people will retire from their main gig and then get a part-time gig to supplement the fact that they don't have a whole lot of money in order to live on. Before analyzing any numbers, I highly recommend reading How to Lie with Statistics. Changes your lens. Yeah, Dojo Drummer, member of the community, just always on that aspect of it, right? Like, because and that's the media literacy of all of the things, right? Like, is actually understand what it is that you're looking at. It could say exactly what it appears to say, right? Like, there could be no issue with what you're looking at, but anytime you're analyzing any kind of data, stuff will be included, stuff will be left out. It's all about the methodology, etc., etc.
Still doesn't account for the fact that productivity is up and corporate profits are up. So when you add all these numbers together, and by the way, you can get this link in the comments, I'll have it pinned. When you add all the numbers up and you look at all the economic models, you're looking at that we actually have a missing 300 to 500,000 jobs this year, due in part to AI. So this is explicitly where you say, okay, AI has invalidated the need for a job, or implicitly where someone left or someone quit or new hiring just didn't happen because instead of hiring a human, they hired an AI instead. So thanks for watching to the end. I hope you...
I don't know that he really proved his points. It's very interesting data, right? Like, I don't hate the video. I missed where the 500,000 related to AI. I saw 300,000, and that's in this payroll share gap. No, he had a point. It was a good, I think it was a good video on using AI to generate data in an infographic fashion. I'm just not sure he proved the thesis, but I don't hate it. Some of the issues are how you design the metrics going in. Some metric analysis design ways the outcome versus the starting point, so it's more likely to report a success. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about here, right? Like, this is a failure. This is a huge success, right? Like, even in 6 months, looks great. It's all right. I mean, maybe, right? Like, I don't have an answer on how to pay for UBI or resource redistribution or what have you. I just think it's a necessity. I don't know how you go about taxing AI or the robot tax or any of those kind of things. I don't even know if that's actually plausible. But again, I'm not against the idea. I just don't have a, tax on energy. Maybe, like I'm willing to consider. Thank you, X1011. You got the reference. All media select the data they show to help with their story. 100%. The Fox and the newer, strongly right-aligned news outlets do seem to have a stronger desire to concentrate on their story. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Ed Zitron loves to talk about how AI is not making any money. Let's find out.
Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes.
According to AI Daily Brief, AI is making oodles of money.
If you've had your
maybe AI Daily Brief is wrong.
Ear to the ground, you might have heard an increasing dint of concern around bubble type dynamics around AI. And this has a lot to do with broader market things that are happening right now. SPACs are back on the table. Crypto treasury companies are all the rage. So there's a general sense, I think, of heatedness creeping into markets. And given how much AI drives...
I think we touched on that a few days ago, Stellar Wingman. Yes. Yeah, we did. Way to pay for UBI is to make 100% tax on all profits above 10% in 1 year. Sure. But then what... I can just shift those profits into other vehicles, right? Like this is the problem is the reason why our tax system in the United States is so incredibly obtuse and complex is to hide money, right? So yeah, let's do 100% tax on all profits above 10% in 1 year. That's just a goal for my accountants to make sure that we don't make profits above 10% in 1 year. 9.89% will be the maximum amount of profits, right? Like that's the fundamental flaw with that kind of thing. Right? Like I understand there's noise from famed coward Josh Hawley about the Nancy Pelosi fucking bill and to prevent Congress folks from interacting with the stock market investments and shit like that. Okay, fine. Sure. Like I'm not against the idea, right? But again, if you make it illegal for Nancy Pelosi to own stocks, then her husband owns the stocks. And if you make it illegal for Nancy Pelosi's immediate family to own stocks, then the cousin owns stocks. It's like I can always move the money to someone else and still reap those same benefits. It's not a solution. Make stock buybacks non-deductible. Sure. Maybe that'll be a solution. But how do you do that, right? And then what is the mechanism? Because this is always what it gets down to. What is the mechanism by which we make these changes? And if that mechanism is Congress, how do you get Congress oh shit. Oh no, never mind. That's some bullshit. How do you get Congress to neuter itself, basically, right? Like that's the thing. If you manage to amass $250 billion, the taxes on your head from your live body at a pay-per-view event in Minecraft. How do you do one of those, right? Like, maybe it's a billionaire versus billionaire death match, and everyone gets half of the losing billionaire's money and the other billionaire gets the other half. Right? How about we tax 1% on every financial transaction? How do you do that? How do you make it happen is the key, right? You can literally throw out any ideas you want, and a lot of those ideas I think are probably great, right? I think that those ideas are probably great, but then how do you do them? And that's the key. What up, Textillion? That would be funny. That would be funny. Like some kid from Weimar, Germany, just some Jeff Bezos walking with like 6 other guys with billions in a wheelbarrow.
Drives a lot of market narratives, it's natural for it to get caught up. However, if there is one takeaway from this set of headlines, it's that bubble or not, AI is making a lot of money. Yesterday, Meta did their quarterly earnings and just absolutely crushed analyst expectations. They reported 22% revenue growth and $18 billion in quarterly income. And what they're going to do with all of that is very clear. The company reiterated plans to double.
I mean, to an extent, but the entire philosophy was different, Sean. Like, yeah, they were raking in money hand over fist, but they were also Hydron the anti-chameleon. What up, Howie? You know, like they were like Standard Oil, right? Standard Oil was constructing. Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. The Standard Oil thing, it like they were constructing an empire, right? Like in the sense of like fucking Billy the Conch 1066 invading England type empire, right? But just doing it in a different way. You know, that's what all this shit is. All this power acquisition shit is the same. It's all the same, right? Whether you go all the way back to like feudal times or pre-feudal times or Rome, and you thought about Rome today, so there you are. Or, you know, post-feudal capitalist, it's all the same as far as like the attempt to create a little empire, right? As far as your arm can reach, I control all of this and it does what I say. What is a Rome? Rome, if you want to roam around the world. So when you're doing that kind of behavior, it also costs a lot of money. But then all of that stuff, your Standard Oil, your railroads, all the things that could be built were built. And like nobody builds railroads anymore, right? Like it's not done. We just use the railroads that we have and like that. So I don't know that there's actually been a change, Sean, where like they thought that they were going to get their head on a spike. I think that they were just, you know, working off a different philosophy. A lot of conquering, right, going on. Now the conquering is the tech billionaires and the VCs and those types. They're the ones doing the conquering, these virtual fiefdoms, centers of power and controlling all these things, which exist in like a entirely different meta level to like actual physical land. Yeah, we'll see if that sustains there, Cosmic.
Infrastructure spending this year to reach up to $72 billion in capex. They forecast a similarly large increase next year, writing that they've decided to, quote, aggressively pursue opportunities to bring additional capacity online to meet the needs of artificial intelligence efforts and business operations. CFO Susan Lee noted that although external financing is being considered, Meta expects to fund most of the build-out from cash flows. Now, one of the things that's really important...
And that, what up, Ribbons? And this is and again, a transition has happened. Right? I don't know when it started, but I know that it's currently happening. Is a lot of critiques and a lot of reasons that people are defining this particular thing as a bubble, the AI bubble, is because they are relying on the old ways of doing business from just like a decade ago. But the way that business is being done has changed. It has elements of that which has come before, but it's also doing different, new, interesting things. We're back to the Gilded Age? No, we're in a new Gilded Age, right? We don't go back. There is no, history does not repeat. This is an important thing, right? History does not repeat. It rhymes, but it does not repeat. You will not get the same effects. If you have an expectation of getting the same effects, you are going to be disappointed, right? Like, because the things that led to the Gilded Age were different than the things that we have now, the underlying conditions. And there may be many features that seem similar, and some of them will be similar, but the thing in and of itself as a whole will be different, right? Like, a lot of people point out, like, they want to talk about fascism, they want to talk about the current administration, and they want to compare it to Weimar Germany. And you could do that, but you'd be wrong, right? Like, were different conditions in Weimar Germany in the interwar years than currently exist in the United States. The United States flavor of fascism is going to necessarily be different than the German flavor of fascism that existed in Weimar Germany. That's just how those things are. A thing is a function of its underlying conditions, right? So it's not going to be the same. It's going to look different in a variety of ways. But again, there will be things that are similar features that look similar, but that's just due to the nature of what fascism is, or authoritarian power, or paramilitary groups on the street, or any of those kind of things. What up, Bravo? The gold-plated crap age. That is true.
Important about this is that this is not just Meta doing well over here and doing AI over there. There is a direct connection.
Exactly, Sean, exactly. Italy had a different fascism. Spain had a different fascism. Portugal, Greece, Argentina, right? Like, everywhere that you had fascist, proto-fascist, pseudo-fascist kind of events happening, you got different flavors of it based on the conditions that were prevalent there, you know?
On the earnings call, Zuckerberg said that the ads business is already seeing a meaningful amount of revenue from new Gen AI features. And even more than that, overall, he said that the strong performance this quarter was largely thanks to, quote, AI unlocking greater efficiency and gains across their ad system. In other words, this is Meta's business doing better, not...
I just can't with the name of this company, Figma. I just can't. I just can't.
Unlocking greater
Exactly, Ponder Monkey, right? Somebody said it. Some famous person said it. Thank you, Bravo. At least somebody got the joke. When fascism comes to the United States, it'll come carrying a Bible and wrapped in the American flag. Like, that's literally what we got. Exactly, X1011. That's what we got, right? It's that kind of, it's different, right? Like, it's just different.
Efficiency and gains across their ad system.
Is that Elmer Gantry? Is that the one? Thank you, Maddie.
System. In other words, this is Meta's business doing better, not all of a sudden people showing back up on Facebook. Now, Bloomberg is still giving column space to analysts with concerns about AI investment, but you're seeing more and more qualifiers being added to the comments. Gabriela Santos, chief strategist for the Americas at JP Morgan Asset Management, said, if a company is saying maybe we'll see an
Yes,
AI benefit
Becca.
in 5 years, we're no longer at the point where that will get a pass. Valuations are mattering more and more, and valuation especially matters if a company can't grow sales as fast as expected or as quickly as CapEx. And yet, that's the key difference for the hyperscalers this year. Sales are growing alongside CapEx, and most of these firms are seeing near immediate returns on their investment. Regardless, the market has spoken with Meta.
I can't wait till Ed Zitron comes out with his podcast talking about this and how basically he's saying that the reporters are just lying. Because that's what he's defaulted to now. Anyone who says anything other than what Ed Zitron believes, they're just lying.
Surging 10% in after-hours trading. Wrote Google Cloud's Brian Beal, Meta can afford to hire as many billion-dollar people as they want to. Microsoft also gave a banger of an earnings call. Now, Microsoft was going to be one of the interesting AI companies to watch this quarter. Over the first half of the year, the narrative was that Microsoft was pulling back from excess cloud contracts, suggesting that demand projections were a little soft. Executives brushed off the rumors, explaining that a handful of canceled contracts were just volatility on the margins rather than a big strategy shift. Well, turns out there was absolutely nothing to worry about, as Microsoft delivered a huge outperformance to close their fiscal year. Company-wide revenue grew at 18% and income rose by 22%. Now, those are huge numbers on their own, but the even bigger news came from the Azure Cloud division, which was reported separately for the first.
Of course, it's Sinclair Lewis, right? Like, it can't happen here. You want to talk about a book that everyone should be reading or have read? Yes, I agree, Maddie. Same page.
First time. Azure sales grew by 39% for the year to reach $75 billion. That's around a quarter of the company's overall revenue, and now within striking distance of AWS, which was a $112 billion business over the past year. Said CEO Satya Nadella, cloud and AI is the driving force of business transformation across every industry and sector. Microsoft saw an 8.5% move in overnight trading, enough to make it the second company in history to reach $4 trillion in market cap. Now, just for some comparison, the chart you're looking at is quarterly cloud revenue added, basically how much cloud revenue grew by each quarter. This past quarter saw Microsoft add more than twice as much as any previous quarter in history. Now, also as an aside, someone pointed out that if you're wondering if Apple's AI strategy is hurting it, looking at 12-month stock performance, and this is even before those overnight results, while Meta is up 50%, Alphabet is up 15%, Amazon is up 26%, and Microsoft is up 21%, Apple is down about 5%. So yes, the market is punishing Apple for, among other things, its lack of an AI strategy. And yet this whole money-making thing is not just in the public sector. With everyone talking recently about how fast Anthropic has been growing, sources have leaked OpenAI's revenue as well. The company has hit $12 billion in ARR, meaning they're on $1 billion a month pace, which is up from $500 million at the end of last year. That's also a big jump from the last revenue check-in we had from OpenAI when they claimed $10 billion in ARR at the end of May. In addition, OpenAI said that they're now seeing 700 million weekly active ChatGPT users, up from 500 million in late March. That puts OpenAI on track to beat their revenue forecast from the beginning of the year. They had forecast $12.7 billion for the full year, so with 5 months left, they're comfortably on pace to blow out that estimate. Keep in mind that when those numbers first emerged, the prevailing take was that the forecast was somewhere between optimistic and delusional. OpenAI had one of the best years for any startup ever in 2024, bringing in $4 billion in revenue. Tripling from such a high base was basically unprecedented, but as we've seen, we are living in totally new times. On the other side of the balance sheet, OpenAI...
Probably like right before he goes terminal, Sean. That's the thing, right? Like when he either gets a terminal case of some disease or just a terminal case of the old, at that point in time, he'll give away most of his fortune. And that's like, it is actually like difficult to give away billions of dollars when you have it structured the way that these people do, which is the best argument for taxing the hell out of the rich, is they don't have like billions of dollars in cash in a big vault like Scrooge McDuck. They have all these vehicles and investments, right? There's money in stuff. So if you scrape off a chunk of that and do something else with it, it tends to regrow, right? And you can just keep on scraping that off. A little thing we like to call taxes.
AI is also ramping up much faster than expected as well. They've increased their cash burn projection to
like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. James, unprecedented indeed. James is on a 31-month streak. That may be unprecedented. What up, James?
roughly $8 billion this year, an increase of $1 billion. And yet, even with all of this, the story that a lot of the chattering class is talking about is Anthropic closing the gap.
The chattering class.
Saster points out that Anthropic is at 4x growth in 7 months, which actually I think the number is higher than that. I think it's actually 5x, versus OpenAI's 2x growth in that same period. The bottom line, they write, this is one of the most dramatic catch-up stories in enterprise software history. Anthropic has closed a 20x revenue gap to 2x in just 3 years, growing 10 times faster than OpenAI. While OpenAI maintains leadership through consumer scale, Anthropic's enterprise-first strategy and superior growth velocity suggest the revenue race will be incredibly tight by 2026 to 2027. Also, they point out, the market is clearly big enough for multiple $10 billion plus AI revenue players. Now, we barely scratched the surface on what the actual revenue profile is going to be, but I think that the thing here is, yes, the catch-up story is impressive on Anthropic's part, but what it's come from is not them out-competing OpenAI on things that OpenAI was already leading in. It's them carving out the central place in the biggest growth.
This is brand new. This is yesterday? Yeah, 1 day ago.
Growth area, which is agentic coding. This massive inflection point that has happened over just the last couple of months is being driven in large part by the massive expansion of coding use cases, and currently Anthropic is really leading that pack. And this is what makes the stakes of the GPT-5 release incredibly high. Now, we're still getting rumors left and right about this. Yuchen Jin writes, heard from a little bird at OpenAI, GPT-5 is finally better than Claude at coding, not just on benchmarks, but in real internal use over the past few days. If that's true, Anthropic can't stay quiet for too long. Claude 5 has to be released sooner. We'll see. For a lot of developers right now, the devotion to Claude is very, very high. But this battle is far from over. It is certainly something we will be watching. For now, though, that's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition. Next.
All right. Next up, the Amazon video I alluded to earlier. We're going to watch that.
Up the main episode.
Amazon's business offering is changing because it needs to change. The tech conglomerate has so many fingers and so many pies, it has found itself exposed to basically every risk and opportunity in the market today. Softening demand for maxed-out customers, pushback from exploited third-party retailers, returns fraud, investors who want to actually start seeing some profits on all the AI hype, a growing dependence on advertising revenue, a degrading customer experience, competition from Chinese retailers who are selling a lot of the same crap anyway, and the fact that they are literally running out of human beings who haven't already worked for them before and quit. It's easy, and honestly sometimes a little bit fun, to point out the flaws and challenges in a business that has screwed over so many people. But the Amazon case study is more important than that. It perfectly encapsulates the strengths and weaknesses of the modern business strategy as it tries to be so many different things to so many different people. You might think that all of these problems are just another recession indicator, or yet another case of juicing short-term gains at the expense of long-term reputation. But the inconvenient truth is that a lot of these challenges were inevitable from the very beginning. Online retail is the most competitive business in the world. Amazon dominated early e-commerce by offering an incredible service below cost to build a one-stop marketplace. But now that it has, it cannot maintain it without making a long list of very unpopular sacrifices.
No. It's blowing it out of the fence. What good is a vacuum that spreads the dirt?
Sellers losing hundreds to thousands overnight. Amazon shutting down accounts for absolutely no reason.
It does not matter what you're going to make on the product. This is going to be a bad result almost every time.
It's Amazon Prime Day, and in case you don't know, the entire website is just a lie.
It's cheaper, aggressively promotional, programmed to sell you useless stuff.
It doesn't matter to me whether we're a pure internet play. What matters to me is do we provide the best customer service.
Despite all of the problems in the world, the American spirit to consume is still going strong. This year, Amazon extended its Prime Day sales to 4 days, and once again announced record results. The expectation was that the company, in combination with the other retailers that were forced to put on sales in response, would generate 2 Black Fridays worth of sales over this time, just without the trampling. And I mean, really, what's the point of that? But behind the scenes,
I haven't seen an actual Black Friday trampling video in ages. I don't think that shit happens anymore.
there was cause for concern. Their official announcement focused more on how AI was helping people shop and how much people saved, but nowhere did it list how much they had actually spent.
No.
Third-party guesstimates have said that.
No. Everything about people, you know who watches Amazon or Black Friday trampling videos is Roach Lord, right? That fucking guy. I am not. There might have been one this last, well, like it's because so much stuff is available online. Kesha and Macklemore.
That despite running for twice as many days as last year and offering longer overall savings on big ticket items, sales growth was only up by 4.9%, with other reports suggesting results significantly worse. Reading between the lines of the company's press release, they were focused almost exclusively on the service benefits that come with a Prime membership like Amazon Music, fuel discounts, a Grubhub subscription, and Prime Video, rather than the retail side of their business, because that business kinda sucks. Amazon has invested tens of billions of dollars to build out the most efficient, hyper-optimized distribution network in the world. It has massive economies of scale, petabytes of customer data, a captive market of subscription customers, and even then, the actual retail operations of its business are barely profitable. Express delivering individual packages to customers' doors is just really expensive when compared to a competitor like Walmart, where customers have to take themselves to the products, not
and this was, I watched a portion of this video. This I take exception with. While yes, a lot of people do go to Walmart like that, there is an increasing number of people who are actually using Walmart delivery. Because for the same reason they use Amazon delivery. Like a lot of times if you ordered something from Walmart and it's wrong or whatever, they don't even want it back. They just refund you the money and move the fuck on. That's a great way to get people, to build up loyalty. And
the other way around. The point is, the company just doesn't have that much wiggle room when it wants to compete on price with a fundamentally cheaper system. So it has had to slowly make sacrifices which are admittedly looking excellent on financial statements, but have caused 4 serious problems in a business that markets itself on customer obsession. The first problem is a growing reliance on advertising bloat. Amazon is now one of the largest advertising businesses in the world. According to company financials, they have made almost $60 billion last year from advertising alone, a revenue segment that outpaced every other part of the business. Amazon now brings in more money from advertising than it does through its Prime subscription service by a significant margin. The most publicized place where these ads started popping up was on Prime Video. The company was one of the first to roll out ads on top of an already paid streaming service. For the 3 of you who have actually watched Rings of Power, I am sure this was very annoying.
also, fuck you. I enjoyed Rings of Power because I'm actually a fan as opposed to fucking some casual.
Now, it would be hypocritical of me to say that advertising is just always bad. I wouldn't be able to pay my team or myself if it wasn't for advertising. And I very much believe that as long as it is reputable, I would rather take an advertiser's money than my audience's. However, when people were already paying for a service, there was understandably a bit more pushback. But stream advertising wasn't where the real money or the real problems were anyway. If you had tried to search for a specific product on Amazon recently, I don't need to tell you that sponsored listings have become far more invasive. This advertising space is some of the most valuable anywhere in the world, because people...
Yeah, and like, I understand that this is a thing and advertising is annoying and everything else. I am with you on that. However, you can literally just scroll right by it. Right? As a person who shops on Amazon, I don't care. I don't pay attention. I just go to the other ones. They're right here. It's just part of this whole fucking, I don't know, this infantilizing behavior that people engage with, right? Like it's the AI slop thing, right? Like, oh, I get all this AI slop in my YouTube. Well, one, you're interacting with it like a dipshit and then complaining about it. How did this rate get here? But then the other thing is, you know, you can train your algorithm to not put that shit in front of you, right? Grow the fuck up. Take control of your life.
Who are literally searching for a specific product in an online marketplace are about the most high-intent customers imaginable. Brands are now spending several $billion per month to get their products to show up first. If the company can't sell ad spots in a particular category, they will just give them away to their own white label brands. There also isn't a lot of pressure from the company to make sure these advertisers are promoting products that are, well, you know, good. An investigation by the FTC found that Bezos himself, while he was still in charge, pushed executives to accept junk ads because they were so profitable that in a report he was quoted saying, "The revenue generated by advertisements eclipsed the revenue lost by degrading consumer shopping experience." Now, to be fair, he was right. Over the last year, Amazon's combined retail operations have grown their margins to be wider than even Walmart, who you will remember has lower operating overhead. They might talk a lot about high-tech automation in their warehouses, or AI shopping assistants, but the real driver of these profit margins has been advertising within the online store itself. This has fundamentally changed the nature of the business. The company is still customer-obsessed, but you are not their customer. Their customers are advertisers. You and the millions of other people that shop online through them every month are the product they sell to those customers. And that's just the first problem. So it's time to learn how money works to find out why Amazon's great enshittification was inevitable. This week's video is brought to you by Brilliant. Brilliant is a—
No, it isn't. This one doesn't count, James. This one doesn't count. I don't particularly care if this person makes money or content ever again. I think some of their videos are terrible. What up, Noah? What was I saying? I don't know. I forget. Oh, I remember. Is the idea y'all, I think a bunch of y'all, not y'all, but you know, the greater y'all, the royal y'all, are like, didn't grow up with commercials, right? Where you would get, you know, 8 minutes of commercials every half hour and they were unskippable and nothing you could do about them, and you just sat there and ate the commercials. And then y'all got the streaming services where you didn't have commercials, and like you learned none of the skills necessary to dodge commercials like we did back in the day. Back in my day, whippersnappers.
Okay, so you are probably already aware that for most of Amazon's history, the loss-making storefront was subsidized by early investors and then the company's massively profitable Amazon Web Services. Amazon was one of the first to realize that it could effectively rent out the spare space on their server infrastructure and let other businesses get access to globalized hosting without having to build out their own data centers.
And that's another thing, Hydron, right? Is y'all who sail the high seas looking for free content, you know? Like that's a whole other aspect of it. Oh, you were one of those, Becca? Art of the yeah, exactly, right? And having your timing down so you wouldn't miss any of the show. Yeah, remember TiVo, right? TiVo came out, and even some of the cable boxes adapted that content or that thing where you could like skip the commercials, right? You could fast forward through the commercials. You would hit one button and it would fast forward through the commercials. And the cable boxes Some cable boxes did that, and which is fascinating if you think about it, right? Like, because that's not where they made their money. They made their money offering the content on their platform. Here's 135 channels, of which you're going to watch 10.
In the most recent letter to shareholders, they made special mention of recent contracts they have signed with organizations like PayPal, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Reddit, Japan Airlines, Northrop Grumman, and the US Army. These contracts will pay out billions of dollars with strong margins because once the upfront investment in the server hosting is made, the actual ongoing expenses are comparatively minimal. This part of the business makes more profit every year than the company has ever made from retail. Which begs the question, why don't they just give up on retail, which is causing them so many problems, and focus exclusively on AWS? Well, that has a lot to do with the second major problem Amazon is facing, the uncertain value of all that money they are throwing into AI. In the last annual letter to shareholders, the company CEO spoke about next generation's whys in their business, and the top 3
You should build one of those, Noah.
whys that he was addressing from shareholders was, why is AI so important? Why invest so much into AI this quickly? Why do chips and AI need to be this expensive? And why have personal assistants not taken off yet? He gave the standard corporate approved answers and it's a public release, so I am not going to waste your time reading them here. But the questions themselves highlighted some pretty clear pressure from shareholders to actually see some results on all the promises of AI. According to Bloomberg, top tech companies spent $200 billion last year on capital expenditures related to AI. The biggest investor out of all of them was Amazon, which alone sunk more than $70 billion into AI infrastructure. To use the technical corporate terminology, that is a fuck ton of money, but it's actually worse than it sounds. This is just capital expenditure, which typically means money spent on tangible assets like office space, warehouses, trucks, and in this case, racks on racks on racks of GPUs. That means it does not include the salaries for all the developers, the R&D budget to develop their own chips, the terawatt hours of energy they are pumping into this, or the missed opportunity of what could have been done with this money instead. Capital expenditures also typically build up capital in the business. If a company spends $1 billion on a new office, they haven't lost $1 billion. They've just transferred it from cash into real estate on the balance sheet. But
this is one of those things, right? Like, you'll see people talking about investments, right, within a company as a loss, right? It's not a loss, it's an expenditure. But they will refer to it as a loss in order to drive their narrative, and it's problematic.
The NVIDIA chips that make up a majority of Amazon spending have a very short shelf life. In 10 years' time, a commercial real estate investment will still be worth money. If the business is lucky, it might have even appreciated in value. But to those of you who are still running a rig with a 1060 in it, you will know that in 10 years, these current state-of-the-art GPUs aren't going to be worth diddly. Setting money on fire at this scale has literally never been done in the history of business. And there are a lot of shareholders that are suggesting that maybe it would just be better to do stock buybacks with that money instead. However, if this all pays off, Amazon's retail division would stand to benefit more than any other business in the world. Automated shopping, warehousing, and last-mile delivery would transform their current high-revenue, low-margin business into an even higher-revenue, high-margin business. But with every year that goes by, there are tens of billions of dollars that need to be made up with these cost savings.
Take care,
and that much money pays for a lot of wage cages and, well, let's call them tactical jugs. But that's actually the third problem, which also explains why Amazon is going all in on AI and automation. They are running out of people to work for them. Amazon is the second largest private employer in America after Walmart, and most of that headcount is warehouse or delivery staff. The conditions in these roles are very bad. Warehouse and delivery work is physically demanding, the pay is low, and the deadlines are strict and turnover is massive. According to leaked documents published by Engadget, the company had a turnover rate of 150%, which in plain English means it was effectively replacing its entire workforce every 9 months. With more than 1 million...
This is what? I mean, they can be. They can, or yes, Senator. But what I'm saying, what I was trying to get across was, they'll say something like OpenAI is losing X billions of dollars every year, right? And that's why it's not profitable. It's garbage. It's a bubble. It's going to collapse. All that kind of thing. My YouTube channel, I post on it every day. This stream gets uploaded to the YouTube right after I'm done. Yeah.
Employees in total, this means that it would only take about a decade before literally every able-bodied working-age person in America who wasn't already employed at a better job would have worked for Amazon. Even aside from the harsh working conditions, the company does not encourage employee tenure, statistically preferring to hire new college graduates over offering internal promotions to warehouse staff. Only around 4% of warehouse managers, let alone floor staff, were promoted into a corporate role according to the same report. The company could pay its employees more.
I'll sub to your channel with both my regular account and my Globus the Elder account. Because homies help homies.
Or relax the punishing deadlines, but that would either cost them the margins they had fought so hard for or slow down the fast deliveries that they have built their brand on. The hope that they have been relying on for almost 2 decades at this point is mass automation of the retail operations that will eliminate the need for masses of floor staff in the first place. In the meantime, even though retail doesn't actually make them that much money, it's a hand that they get to hold on to for free, which could pay off massively if their dream of comprehensive end-to-end automation comes true. There are also some benefits of having lots of revenue, even if it doesn't necessarily translate.
I'm actually surprised they already don't with the relationship that they have with the NFL, right? The fact that they have the Thursday night games on Amazon. Like, I don't understand why they're not just running that, you know? Like, maybe.
Translate into lots of profit. Amazon makes billions of dollars in sales every day, but it doesn't need to pay for the items it's selling for up to 3 months after it has already sold them. This means that the company gets to hold on to a whole lot of cash in the meantime, which is something called negative working capital. In the case of Amazon though, this is billions of dollars, which helps with a lot of day-to-day operations. But it is an additional strain on the fourth big problem they are contending with. Third-party sellers hate using Amazon. A lot of the products the company sells, they do not own. They are just distributed on behalf of third parties through the Fulfilled by Amazon or F.
I like Amazon's Amazon Prime's little I can't remember the name of it because it's been a few months. But they have like the regular feed, the Spanish feed, and then you can have their like feed with additional cookies on it, and they put the circles around the wide receivers, and it's very Madden-esque and like that. I think that's great. I love that.
BA service. A lot of businesses selling products online feel forced to list their items on Amazon because that's often the first stop for people that want a convenient online shopping experience. But they would really rather not for 3 reasons. The first reason is that if they are selling generic items, their products are all mixed together with other products with the same SKU, even if they are from different suppliers. This has made counterfeit products extremely common because once they are in the distribution system, there is no way to tell which third party was responsible for the defective items, but whoever happened to take the order will be blamed for it. The same problem happens with returns. Amazon has a growing problem with people taking advantage of its generous returns policy. Some people take this to an extreme by systematically cycling through Amazon accounts to try and get expensive items for free. Now, I'm sorry, but I am not going to teach you how to do this, but it generally involves buying a product and then getting that money back without actually returning it, or not returning it in a good enough condition, and to go and buy it at a discount later.
I don't know how that's possible, because, like, again, I buy stuff off Amazon, and then I bought a pair of shoes, non-slip, kitchen-type work shoes. And I bought the shoes, and they were too small, right? Like, I have wide feet, 10.5 wides. I ordered 10.5 wides. They were so small I couldn't fit my feet in them. So I needed to return those and get new ones, right? And I'm fine because I'm going to get new ones. I'm just going to get like a larger size to see if those fit. So yeah, you can just put it back on the account, no problem. And I had to, took it to the UPS store, right? And I didn't even need a box, right? Super great. And I took it to the UPS store, and only after the UPS store had logged it in did I get my credit back. So I don't even know how you could do the shenanigans they're talking about. You can do all kinds of fraud. I'm not going to advocate for fraud because it's probably a violation of TOS. But, you know.
I know I sound like a broken record, but a lot of people in America and around the world right now are maxed out on debt and bottomed out on savings. If people can make a few $100 pulling a fast one with some online orders, some are going to do it. When the perceived victim is Amazon and they don't even need to hand back the products in person, people don't feel as guilty about returns fraud as they would from an independent business, even when most of the time it actually is the third-party retailer behind the scenes. Since items are hand-delivered to your door, it's often not even worth it for the company to get someone to come and pick up.
My friend was telling me they got a place out in Lancaster, which is a place in Western New York, and they have, like, they get the pallets, and then they have these boxes, and you pay X amount of dollars per box, and then you just get whatever the fuck's in the box, like Christmas. I think you can take the box up to the counter, and they'll open it before you buy it, kind of thing. I'm not sure. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm interested because I like cheap shit, right? Like, I don't like cheap shit. I like inexpensive shit. You know what I mean? Free, especially. My Uber driver was telling me you can keep paying your credit card with the same money by moving it around with cashier's checks and post-dating stuff. I was like, oh yeah, but it's also check fraud, and that's like 5 years in jail. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a self-manufactured Ponzi scheme, and it's fine as long as nobody notices and it all continues to work. But if somebody actually looks at the fucking thing, right? Remember, credit card and check fraud are crimes that affect capital, and they tend to get pursued.
An item up again, because then they are paying for shipping twice on an item they probably won't be able to sell again. Every year, the company destroys billions of dollars worth of returned merchandise, which the third-party retailers end up paying for. According to data from Red Stag Fulfillment, this is lower than most e-commerce sales, which average a return rate of 16.9% compared to Amazon's 5 to 15%, which it said was thanks to Amazon's investments in customer ratings. However, when businesses handle their own returns directly, they have more control over what happens to the product, which can avoid new customers getting defective repackaged returns. This return rate is also almost double the rate of traditional brick-and-mortar retailers because getting away with questionable returns is a lot harder in person. For businesses that sell through Amazon, this is a growing strain on their business. And for normal people that just want to return defective items, they now have to jump through more hoops than ever to get it done. Between customers, shareholders, employees, third-party retailers, and economic realities, Amazon cannot satisfy everybody at the same time. For now, their strategy is to make everybody just a little bit angry while they wait for AI to hopefully pay off. But even if that does, it presents a new problem. If AI takes all of our jobs, who is Amazon going to sell to? Go and watch this video next to find out. And
we did, and it was disappointing. Let me just turn this down a little bit because we got a new Theoretically Media. Trend of buying brands on the Amazon price returning to the store without a receipt. Yeah, I mean, I guess. But there's also a thing if and Jmart can tell you all about this, is how if a price, like if Walmart does a sale price on an item and that item can be found on Amazon, then Amazon makes it so that all those retailers who are selling that item have to reduce their price to match the sales price or lose their buy box. And if you don't know anything about Amazon, it's all about the buy box. Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing is that's why you got to have a receipt. Like I fully expect for brick and mortar to require me to have a receipt in order to return something, and I'm fine with that. I mean, that's the way it's always been, and there's no issue there. If I can prove I bought it from you, you should be able to take it back. Excuse me.
Don't forget to.
No, you're done. New theoretically media.
Well, gang, we have a new AI music generator on the scene, but what's funny is that it's actually not new. In fact, it is literally the OG of the game. Today, we're going to look at Producer AI, which is actually Riff Fusion under.
And I think that this was a good choice, naming it Producer AI, because what you do when you create music with a tool like Suno, you are not acting as an artist, right? You are acting as a producer. I don't agree. They have financial records of your transaction for 7 years. I'm already paying for it. Let me, the customer, just return the item, and you look up if I ever purchased it. If I never made the transaction, then reject the return. Yeah, if you used a credit card or something like that, as long as they can show that. But like I recently went through a thing because my son's gamer chair, right? And it's the Shaquille O'Neal chair. It broke, and it actually was a bracket inside where the arm connected to the back, there's a bracket inside there, right? Like it's not a customer accessible part. You just bolt shit into it, and it tore itself from the back of the whatever the fuck they're called, office chair, hydrant. I don't need your shenanigans today. The bracket tore loose from the back inside the chair, right? Not in a customer accessible part. And I got it from Office Max. And Office Max not only could not would not help me out because I didn't purchase their extended warranty bullshit, but actually could not provide me with the receipt. Right? I had the charge because I did it through my PayPal, and so I had the charge, I had the date, and when I put that into their system so that they could send me a copy of the receipt, they were sending me someone else's receipt for a laptop. And what am I going to do? Right? Like, how do I deal with that? Because arguing with them, they just did the same thing in reverse. They closed my ticket. There was no laptop, Noah. I didn't have a laptop. I had a receipt for a laptop. But the people at whatever the fuck, the people who sell and service the chair, they were super nice. They sent me a new back for free. Had I been able to pull up the receipt, they would have actually just refunded all my money. They were prepared to do that, but because I didn't have a receipt and couldn't generate one, I had to wait to get the chair back sent. Hi, big guy. Oh, that's what they're calling just laughing at the general concept. Yeah, well. So yeah, you're a producer. You're acting as a producer. You're not a musician. The AI does the music. You're not you might write the lyrics. That's up to you. But all that kind of thing. Take the why would I do that? Why would I want to do that, Sean? It sounds interesting, but why would I do that? So yeah, producer.
the hood. So, well, why the name change? Well, mostly because it's a whole new workflow with some pretty interesting things going on. All right, grab your EQ pedal, scoop out the mids, let's get riffing. So yeah, this is Producer AI. I do want to note a couple of things off the top. Just like Riff Fusion, I did partner with them to bring you this first look. And this is really a first look. This is actually a pre-release beta version of it. When you watch this video, though, it will be released. That said, with whatever I cover today, just know that there is more on the way. So first off, and obviously most importantly, is this new workflow. And it's really interesting because, well, it's agentic, meaning that, you know, you're actually...
You want snacks? Is that why you're tapping me? Yes. Snacks, I understand. Stampy snacks do 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 stamp snacks do 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 snacks do 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 Stampy snacks. There's his butt do 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 do. There's his butt do 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 do. There's his butt do 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 do. There's his butt. Are you happy now? You good? You got your snacks? Go back to sleep. Show him the face. Good boy.
Talking with Producer AI. So kicking off, I don't know where you are right now, but it is summer here and it has been stupid hot. So I give Producer just the opening prompt of create a song about hating summer heat waves. Producer then generated up some lyrics for me and then actually asked me what genre I wanted in. That kind of surprised me. I just said, let's go with the pop song. It ended up with Melting Down. To be honest, I really wasn't that into the song. So here's actually kind of where things get interesting is through the course of a conversation with Producer, we ended up with this version of Melting Point, which I very much prefer.
Barbecue smoke in my eyes, under blazing brutal skies. Everyone's in tank tops cheering, while I'm slowly disappearing. Sun's a spotlight, can't escape it. This whole season I just hate it. I'm at my melting point, boiling over, what's the point? Fans broken, AC's dead, rather hide inside instead of my melting point, sweating bullets disappointing. Summer love, I'm summer done. How's this weather?
This is true. This is true. When you subscribe to this channel for only $4.90 or $5.99 or free with a Twitch Prime, you might be gifted a sub by one of our beautiful community members. You can also do biddies and whatnot. Then it all goes to help support Stampy Have Snacks. You like this song? Different strokes.
Any fun?
I will say Sharon-esque. Well, yeah, I will definitely say it is. But that's also a dude that probably considers anything over 76 degrees a heat wave. I'm sorry, 24 Celsius. Now, I do want to note that while we do have...
I don't know. On one hand, yes, textiling, but I was actually thinking about that. And the sodden fabric would, could act as like a heat exchange. I don't think it would be comfortable, but... it might help cool.
Have our producer chat stream going on here. You can always come up to here in the compose option setting, and all of your manual controls are still here as well. There's also some pretty interesting stuff in the compose tab, including the add vibe option. That's something we will be taking a look at in a little bit. Moving on to our modern country test. If you've been following any time that I cover music, you know I hate modern country. I do like old country, I do like alt country, but modern country, it is just terrible. So in keeping with our tradition of generating modern country songs, the prompt here was a modern country song about a man who hates all the typical imagery of a modern country song, beer, football, trucks, etc., and would like to move to the big city where he can drink wine and drive an electric car. I'll say this is where producer and I actually started to kind of get into a groove together. The first attempt was Not My Scene, which it wasn't bad. Lyrically, I wasn't completely sold on it, but I'm sure most of you know that whenever you're dealing with like a language model, kind of the more context you can provide it and the more direction you can provide it is always helpful. So we started to get into a place in this session where I was telling what I did like and what I did not like. And I think that is where things really started to come together. Once we did finally have our lyrics locked, it took about 3 generations before we finally landed on Urban Refrain.
But I'm dreaming sky-high windows and a late-night espresso, trading honky-tonks for neon lights and a rooftop echo. Give me cabs instead of tractors, rush hour over rust. No more boot scooting, just shoes with a shine and a little bit of city dust.
As a quick note, I do want to mention that you actually can generate.
I like that little line there about no more boots scooting, just shoes that shine and a little bit of city dust. It was clever. I will give credit where it's due. I do. So for longer time viewers who have heard me talk about my music generation process, there's a lot of that in what I do, right? Like something like Nemesis, right? This song was a collaboration between myself, ChatGPT, and Claude, right? To create the lyrics and the organization before I put it into Suno to actually generate the it sounded to me like cats over tractors, but it was probably cabs. In order to generate the song. What I like about this is that's containing the entire process in one place. I don't think that the music generation is as good as where Suno currently is, because their sound is like top notch these days. Like some of you with like a peak ear may detect things that me, a casual, don't.
Never feel it. It's a mess we're in. Started with a grin.
But a lot of that shit that used to exist, that sparkle or whatever the fuck it was, that existed on the back end of the lyrics and made them sound kind of like tinny, I rarely see that kind of shit anymore. And it's all across the spectrum, like, you know. And this is what I came up with. This is from V for Vendetta. What up, Allegedly Okay? Great name.
In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran. cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta held as a votive, not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily this vicious swash of verbiage fears most verbose. So let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me back.
I like it. I like it. What up, Brad?
Up album cover images here as well, as I did here with like featuring a cowboy riding down Fifth Avenue in New York City. I'm guessing it's using Flux, given the fact that our spelling is incorrect here. That said, you know, you can always prompt out of that.
Is country, Sean, is country the type of music most made to plan these days? Probably. Pop country, like modern pop country, is very, very formulaic. Not all of it, right? Like there's always outliers and whatnot. But like that, and it has a lot of crossover with the a lot of the neoconservative tracks of like your Tom McDonald's and your 4G Auto Blows and your you know, those people.
Just, you know, simply say no text. You can also generate up looping video here as well. So yeah, kind of a cool bonus. Sliding over to the hip hop side of things, I wanted to do a song about the struggle of having all of these streaming subscription services, and when you sit down, there's actually still like nothing to watch. I feel like we can all relate to this.
I don't like meme songs. I like, this is fine, right? The origin points for his creations. I don't like meme songs. Woody Harrelson, Kiefer Sutherland, Cowboys in New York City. That sounds vaguely familiar. Like I'm picturing a bar fight, probably.
To that, we ended up with Nothing On, a trap anthem. Yeah, this is pretty good.
Check the list, check it twice, nothing good, roll the dice. Same old shows, same old lies, time to waste, no surprise. Got Netflix, got Hulu, Disney TV 2, Prime Video, Apple TV, what am I supposed to do? Paying bills every month, but there's nothing on, nothing on, nothing on. Tell me what went wrong. HBO Max, Paramount, spending all my dough. 30 services later and I still don't know what to watch, what to see. Everything's gone wrong, nothing on, nothing on, nothing on.
I gotta say, that is pretty funny. The other thing I really appreciate about it is that there's a few points where the flow feels like it's about to go like off a cliff, and then it kind of manages to find itself again. I think there's two reasons for that. First off, I did kind of play around a little bit with the weirdness knob over here. That works like, well, I mean, if you've ever been over to Midjourney, a weirdness knob is a weirdness knob. The other part is that I actually ended up using a vibe as well. In a previous session, I wasn't.
That's the one where I'm walking here and where John Voight is the cowboy and Dustin Hoffman is the New York City dude, not Rhinestone Cowboy. It's something. Yeah, that's not it though. The Cowboy Way. The Cowboy Way is the Kiefer Sutherland, Woody Harrelson joint.
Quite getting that kind of like trap sound that I was looking for. So if you head over to the featured tab over here, what you'll find is, songs and playlists
Midnight
from
Cowboy.
other
Very good.
users. In particular, I found Freestyle by Encore, the music producer. So good job, sir. And all I have to do is come up and
I think
use the
Midnight
vibe here,
Cowboy
and
is
that
correct.
ports back over to my producer session. I should note that you're not actually like remixing the entire song here or anything. What you're doing is actually just taking a 10-second snippet, and actually, as far as I can tell, you're not actually taking any of the audio from that original source. You're just kind of using that as a stylistic inspo for your track. And just to tie that idea back to our agentic producer, you can, of course, always ask it to provide you with a playlist of any genre or mood that you're looking for. In this case, cinematic soundtrack, and it will pull other artists from Producer AI in a playlist for you. And I do have to say there's some really great songs in here, some really interesting genres as well. So let's just make sure that we have freestyle here, Hearted. Rounding out our genre test with metal. It only seems appropriate considering that at the time of this filming, it has not been too long since Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. So I figured it would be appropriate to do a song like The Madman Howls. Now, here's the thing is that I did not want to do like an Ozzy Crazy Train tribute. I wanted to focus more on the Black Sabbath side, and more than that, actually, what that ended up inspiring, namely stoner rock. If you're not familiar with the genre, it's generally categorized as slower, sludgier, spacier, as the name implies, and in a cosmic sense as well. And then occasionally bluesier. So given some pretty heavy prompting into that area, plus using a vibe with the gnarliest track that I've heard in ages, Drenched in Sludge, we ended up with The Madman Howls.
Raise the crown of smoke and flame. Sing the madman's holy name. Chains of silence break and fall. When Ozzy calls, we hear it all.
I probably should note that all of our various editing tools are still under the compose section. You can, replace sections. You can actually just swap out the vocals, but keep the original instrumentation. You can swap sounds out of various instruments, extend songs, or even, cover your own song into a new version. You can also just, obviously just prompt for it in Producer as well. I should also note, and I haven't gotten the chance to play around with this much, but on the homepage, you can also customize your producer, giving it instructions on, how it should talk to you and address you, as well as things like what skill level you're at, what you're trying to accomplish. There are some flows in here as well, and then you can provide it with memories, things to remember about yourself. Now, obviously, I do have a bunch of guitars here, and anytime that we're doing music stuff, I always like to do something with them. So one thing that we can do in Producer is just straight direct record. So
one of the things that irritates the shit out of me about Suno is there's an option for you to upload your own audio, right? So I tried to upload audio of me singing to try and get me singing on a track, but because the lyrics I was singing were copyrighted, it denied the upload. So I have to find a song that won't offend the copyright gods in order to sing it to get a sound that it's like, Jesus Christ.
Obviously, just hitting the record tab, you now have the red button. Chances are, if I hit this, it's going to just start recording me talking because that's the way that the mic is wired right now. But earlier today, I ended up grabbing my guitar and just plugging it directly into my interface, recording 4 chords. They don't sound very good because, again, we're just recording direct. And so let's go ahead and turn this into an indie dream pop song with female vocals about needing to clean off your desktop because there are too many unorganized files. I see you.
Cluttered spaces in my mind tonight. Fragments scattered, barely holding light. You're somewhere buried in this endless maze of moments I can't seem to erase.
So obviously just looping those 4 chords would get kind of boring. And that is the thing that, of course, Producer does, is that by the time you hit the chorus, you're here.
Clear the space we made. Sweep away what's
All right, 2 things about that. First of all, lady, you can't just clear
Thank you for the follow.
things and sweep them away. What if you need those files again? The other thing is that once we hit the chorus, our chords have obviously changed, but they are still within the same key that was provided in our input reference audio.
Thank you for the
That
follow.
is something that, well, Riff Fusion was very good at, and clearly Producer continues to do the same. But if you do play an instrument, it's a great way of
Because AI functions on dream logic, Textillian. This is the thing that you can't forget, right? That's why everything is weird.
generating up some practice backing tracks.
I mean, the current, as far as fair use goes, the current precedent as of the most recent court cases is that the use of copyrighted works to train an LLM in specific are transformative and therefore covered under fair use. So, yep. Yo, it's about that time to bring forth the rhythm and the rhyme. I'm gonna get mine, so get yours. I want to see sweat coming out your pores. What up, Wolfglen? What? What? So many things just happened there. I'm not sure what you're responding to. That sounds so gross. What sounds so gross? That the use of copyrighted materials is actually fair use. This has been my position the entire time. Yeah, novels. Yeah. That's been my position the entire time, right? Like I don't believe in copyright. I don't believe, no, not that. Maddie, would you elucidate your position so I can respond to it properly? Oh, we raiding. I am anti-copyright, anti-IP. It's a tool of capital to, if I scrape Disney movies and make a new cartoon based on Disney will be super cool with that. No, I did not say that in any way, shape, or form. Disney is currently suing Midjourney, and we have to see how that one plays out. I'm just saying what the current precedent is related to the Anthropic and Meta cases. What about the author who sweated blood? You mean the ones who had their works stolen out from them by publishing companies or by Disney or by other huge conglomerates who can actually afford the attorneys intended to defend copyright? Because it's not about who did what. It's about who has money to do what. In the meantime, what up, Nightingale? Drink your water. Eat some food. Take your meds if you forgot. And always remember that Sharky loves you. So do I. Be great.